Hi, Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Brendan Gunn producing the show today for us, and a lot to get into with the local ball club. We will talk about the fact that there was a preseason football game played.
That's what it was?
Yes, broke even Andrew DeCecco. So if he broke him, at least we know that it was that brutal on Saturday, that game. Eagles also made a trade. We will get into that. Todd Zeleki joins us coming up at 11:25 to talk about the big story of the weekend, and that is your Philadelphia Phillies, and grinding out a 4-game split where you win 2 in D.C. with a 3+ hour marathon of a game on Sunday. All of that taking backseat to the health of Zack Wheeler. And if you missed it over the weekend, he's gone to the 15-day injured list with a blood clot. So want to open, of course, with wishing the best for him and hoping that all is well with Zack Wheeler and he has that taken care of from a personal side of things. But, of course, from the baseball side of things here for the Phillies, a Cy Young candidate, one of the best postseason pitchers statistically in baseball, is not a part of the short-term future right now, and there is concern as to whether he will pitch again this season. And right away, as I got that text on Saturday, it was one of those, please don't be real. Please you're relaying information to me that's not real. We were leaving here from doing the post-game show, and I just missed when Dombrowski went on television because I was just in transit to get back home. Like, please tell me you're mistaking the message that's being put across here. But there is no mistaking it. That is what it is. It reminds me a little bit of being passed along the message when Wentz went down with the ACL, where you just kind of think like any hope, any sort of dream I had for this team to go do something has kind of been shattered. And it was shattered in that moment, and I have not been able to get myself back to the point of believing this team could do something in terms of raising a trophy by the end of this season since I got that news.
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, look, and let's start with the obvious, as you said. One, it's Zack Wheeler's personal health. I mean,
right.
You're talking in the shoulder, a blood clot, not far from the heart, if you really want to, follow the circulatory system. So you hope they get it taken care of and all well and all that. I can't see any scenario where he's back this year. I mean, there's 6 weeks left in the season. In a best-case scenario, I think you just plan on him being ready for spring training maybe. And even then, if it's thoracic outlet, it could be a lot more complicated than that. And as far as this team, they were pretty much built on the starting pitching would carry you. And now, okay, you got Sanchez. It's slotting. Remember how we talked about with the bullpen? That Duran slots everybody in the right spot. Well, it's not that the sum of the starting pitchers is bad. It's the slotting now gets thrown off. It's Wheeler, it would have been Wheeler, then Sanchez, then Suarez, and all that. Now you're going a different realm. You're going, Sanchez and probably Suarez, maybe Nola game 3, Walker game 4. It just doesn't work as well, and you don't have enough confidence that the bats can carry you.
No, you don't have enough confidence they could carry you. And really with this pitching staff, we were talking last week, all right, well, game 3, what does it look like? You have 2 Cy Young candidates, 1, 2, assuming everything works out. You were thinking at that point, hey, maybe Wheeler's going to go to the injured list because the shoulder's been bothering him, and it's just going to be him getting reset. And then obviously this happens. And it's
a reboot of 22,
right.
Basically.
And this happens, and it's like, okay, I don't think I can really confidently tell you I think he pitches again this season. So if he's not pitching again this season, you're looking at someone that I mentioned, statistically one of the best postseason pitchers we've ever seen. And just breaking down the runs they've been on with him at the start of that rotation. Set the table for you, both wild card series, 22 and 23, put you in a position for both of those games. And we know that game in 22, it definitely took them, the bats coming alive in that ninth inning. And in the NLCS, the 2 NLCS they've played in this run, they are 4-0 in games started by Zack Wheeler.
Right. I mean, he didn't get the win, obviously.
Right,
but
the team, they are 4-0 in games started by him in the NLCS.
And the idea was that, okay, you talked about the bullpen with the idea of, all right, Duran shut you down the 7th inning. Well, it shut you down the 9th inning, and it forced it into an 8-inning game. Well, Wheeler at least put you into the 6th inning, which meant you only had to worry about 6 outs, basically. The 7th and 8th inning to get the Duran. Now that plan is totally up in the air. Now you can't count on that going forward. And there's where the problem is. I mean, remember last week when we saw the playoff schedule come out? And we saw the fact that the DS, there was the building day off between games 1 and 2, and you're thinking, okay, you can go Wheeler game 1 and game 4. And then you can go Sanchez, presumably game 2 and game 5. Now you can't do that. Now you're throwing a different wrinkle in all this. Yeah, I think that's as big a blow as they can have. You could take anybody else on the roster. You could take Harper, you could take Schwarber, all that, and pull them out, and I could still make an argument that they're a World Series contender. Maybe not as strong, but a World Series contender. You take Wheeler out, I don't know if I can make that argument.
No, I don't think I can make the argument anymore. I mean, this is one of those things, like I've waited for myself to kind of process what happened and been like, all right, well, this is the path forward. It's horrible to declare a season on August 18th that you don't see the hope there.
Well, I mean,
but without knowing, like if you tell me that the logical way this ends is him not pitching again this season, then the logical way this season ends for the Phillies is not with the World Series championship. We were already teetering with, hey, they really have to get hot as a team. They really got to, they have to maximize everything, play their best baseball at the right time. Now this group, I think, could play their best baseball as a group, and I'm still sitting there like they don't have their ace. They don't have the guy that was the reason, like the driving force of why I think that any series they could win, because anytime he took them out in the postseason, you feel like you had a chance to win 2 games in a series.
What was the one edge the Phillies had over the Dodgers?
Starting pitching.
Starting pitching. What was the one edge you figured they had over the Brewers? Starting pitching. The Cubs. Starting. Every other team in the National League, you would have said starting pitching. You can't say that now.
No, and this, I mean, there are so many different ways you could go with the way this impacts them, not just in the short term of this season, but in the long term. But just for this season specifically, I'm sitting here today trying to put together what it looks like the rest of the way. And coming up, we're going to get into a little bit of what the rotation might look like. They wanted to go to the 6-man rotation. Obviously, those plans are changing right now with what they have in front of them.
Maybe
Could they
not.
still do that? Could they still do that?
Maybe not.
And then maybe not, might not. But right now, the real thing is any chance that we thought they had for the postseason was based on this starting pitching staff. And
To advance in the postseason.
Yeah.
They're going to make the postseason.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sorry. If anyone is still doubting that, please relax, because I don't think anyone should be doubting that at this point. But any chance of making noise in the postseason, because the bar was never set at just getting there, that to me has just gone out the window.
I mean, could they get hot? Sure. Could they get on a run? I mean, baseball's the one sport that you could see this happen.
Right.
It's just very difficult to see it right now.
Mm-hmm.
In the gloom of the moment, it's tough to see.
And I think Jason Stark tweeted this out over the weekend, that in Wheeler starts, since he arrived in Philadelphia, they play at like a 106-win team pace. And in everyone else's starts, they're like an 86-win team pace. I mean, if you don't see the difference in what he is, like this, he is the preeminent pitcher of the 21st century in terms of longevity and skill you've gotten. I know people say, well, the 2 years of Halladay were tremendous, and absolutely, I'm not going to take that from you. Cole Hamels was a World Series MVP, not taking that away from you. But in terms of what Zack Wheeler's Phillies career has been, the level of excellence and the sustained excellence of it for the 21st century, I don't think he's matched.
You're going to hear a lot of comparisons, though, that the worst rotation the Phillies had was the one that won the World Series during that run.
Absolutely.
I guarantee that's probably what people are going to fall back on. But it's a different sport now because of the extra playoffs, too.
And how many guys, I will say to that 08 team, how many guys had the offensive year of their lives?
Oh, a ton.
Right. Which
Utley, Howard. I mean, maybe not their lives, but close. I mean, close to career years.
Yeah. I mean, Earl.
You have one
Worth.
right now. You have one right now.
Yeah,
who's having a
one.
career year, and that's Schwarber.
Is that enough for you?
Well, unless they Bugs Bunny him, no.
For you, did you feel like this season, I don't want to say ended, but your hopes for this season vanished over the weekend the way that I'm feeling right now? I would love for someone to give me something to grab onto. And we had this conversation last week that maybe Jason Stark could make me feel better about the division when you and I were together last week. Maybe Todd Zeleki coming up at 11:25 will give me a little bit more perspective on this. But coming up, diving into the return of Nola, because that happened yesterday. The return of Alec Boehm and where this rotation goes forward from this. He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Alongside Kevin Cooney, I'm Ray Dunn, taking you through the midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Brendan Gunn producing the show, and obviously opening with the conversation around Zack Wheeler. And I hope the best for him personally, and what is just a scary situation with the blood clot there, that he ends up on the injured list. And the expectation I think both you and I have created for ourselves, and, I am not a doctor. Don't play one on TV, won't play one on radio. I am the first guy to tell you when I have something happen to me, I go straight to WebMD, and I drive doctors nuts with my own self-diagnosis. So that's my way of just putting this out there, that I have no medical information. I just don't think I can assume that he'll be a part of this team for the rest of the season.
Right, get surprised if he is, but
right
at this point, no, you can't plan on it.
And with that, a lot of where this goes is game planning how the rotation's going to look. And this news comes out Saturday. everyone knows then Sunday, Aaron Nola's coming back. And
Is
for
that what that was called?
2 innings, Aaron Nola was back. And then in the third
Well,
inning,
the velocity was down.
Aaron Nola really was back.
Yeah.
2025 Aaron Nola was back in that third inning where things unravel and he just can't stop it. Left-handed bats, can't stop it. And that leads you now to where do they go with this rotation? We were talking about who that third postseason starter would be prior to the Wheeler situation. Now, it's who's number 2 and who's number 3 for this team in a postseason scenario. First, to assess what you saw from Aaron Nola and how it relates to the way this rotation looks in the next 6 weeks and then come October.
Well, with Aaron Nola, he doesn't have the stuff right now. Too many things over the heart of the plate. That's where he got roughed up. His fastball can't. He never had the overpowering fastball. He was not Wheeler with 97. He was 93, usually maybe 94. He's sitting about 91, 92 with his four seam. And that's on a good day. And from the stretch, he's just been, his location is awful. It's something about guys from the stretch with this team, both him and Luzardo.
Yeah.
That kind of tells me whether he's tipping, whether he's just not comfortable in it. And maybe it's going to take time for him to get back. All right. What I would do and what I think they'll do is totally different. Okay?
Okay.
What I would do is I would go Sanchez, Ranger, Walker, Nola, and move Luzardo back to the pen. What I think they're going to do, if you're going to order it 1 through 4, they'll split the lefties and they'll put Nola in between because they'll view Aaron Nola as a playoff experience guy.
Yep. Yeah, what I think they're going to do, I think it's going to be Sanchez, Nola.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Suarez, just because of what Luzardo gives you out of the bullpen. Just different than what you have from your
And
current
Walker,
lefties.
if they get the game 4
if
and the
they
LCS.
play, yeah. Out of merit, though.
Out of merit, Walker's 2 right now.
If you're splitting the lefties, especially.
Yeah. But they're big on, this manager is big on, and this, I think GM is big on, how it'll play in the locker room. If you somehow don't have Aaron Nola in your postseason roster or on your postseason rotation, that's a tough sell in that locker room.
I understand it's a tough sell in that locker room.
I agree with you,
man. Like, if it looks like it did, and this is coming from a guy that's a big Nola
And by the
guy,
way, there's 6 more starts for him to prove he
right. And someone that was pushing for him to be re-signed here and all those things. So understand where this is coming from. This is coming from a place where I have been a proponent of Aaron Nola for his time here.
However,
if he looks like that,
you can't. I
mean, you're talking about the 4 as an NLCS. If you get to an NLCS type setup, I can't have him as 1 to 3. Like yesterday, and it's funny, on Friday, Andrew asked the question of 1 word to describe how you feel about Aaron Nola coming back. And I was like, well, I wouldn't I be anything but excited? At least you're getting an arm back here. And then the third inning was like, why would I ever be excited? Why would I ever enjoy anything? Like, I felt like that third inning went on for a decade. I felt like I was sitting there watching that game for 6 hours with the way that third inning went. Because it was just like, and I have the text. I will bring it up. After the Wheeler news came out, my baseball group chat of all the different guys that, whether cover or be around it, I was like, and on top of this, tomorrow, Nola's going to give up 6 earned. Just like gut feeling with how the weekend was going for the Phillies.
Yeah, but you didn't put a wager on it, so it doesn't
count.
count.
It doesn't count. Absolutely not. I only have the receipts of it. But it's just like the weekend for the Phillies just felt like you watched it.
It was a summer slog.
Yeah, but like every good party is over before you clean up and like everyone leaves. Like there's a point in every party that you're at where like the party's actually over and like there's still people there and you're still like trying to have the night that you've been having, but like the party is clearly, it's time for everyone to like, it's over. It was one of those weekends where you get the Wheeler news, you see the way Nola pitched. We were talking about the fact that this national team is so terrible, and it had one of those feelings of like, yeah, this party feels like it's over.
I'm not going that far.
I know. I'm in a dark way right
You
now
are.
with the Wheeler news, just because I feel like this season.
You're in a glass case of emotion.
I think with this season, when you look at what it meant, I understand the window's not closed per se, but the window is only open for me as long as Wheeler was the leader of this pitching staff.
Well, I will tell you now. You want to take this next level?
Uh huh.
I think the Wheeler news almost guarantees they're going to pay like Schwarber and Real Muto and everything. They're going to try to keep this window open.
They have to. I mean, like they had to pay Schwarber before, but now I mean,
but it's almost a lead pipe lock at this point.
And that means they need to also outside of that, they need to explore offensive upgrades considerably.
Right field.
Right field.
Second
base. You saw the look in my eyes. You knew exactly where I was going with that.
I may be okay in center field. I may be okay with Bader if the mutual option gets picked up.
I was a fan, so
I know.
I'm okay with that. But the one thing they did get was production from third base in that game on Sunday. If you want to take something from that, I had someone tweet at me upset about Alec Boehm yesterday. I was like, of all the things this weekend that you'd be upset about, it's not like listen, he's not a perfect player. But
we haven't even gotten to the Duran thing.
No, we haven't. Sometime today. I got to yell
about somebody.
I know. Sometime today. All right? We got Zack Wheeler to worry about first. Please, let's take care of the business in front of us first.
Is he still in the building?
We're going
Rob
to...
Thompson's a jackass.
We're going to continue to react to the Wheeler news with you. You can get in with us at 610-632-0975. Continue to look at where this rotation goes from here, coming up at the bottom of the hour. Also, the Eagles made a trade. Can someone explain it to me like I'm 7? Okay, he's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. This is the Midday Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A busy weekend for the Phils. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yes, it was a weekend that was jam-packed for the Phils, to say the least. It concluded with an 11-9 win over the Washington Nationals yesterday. That game was mixed with ups and downs. As for the good, the bats came alive. Nick Castellanos put together a multi-hit game, including a home run, as did Alec Boehm in his return from the IL. Boehm went yard with a three-run shot. Now for the bad, Aaron Nola, he failed to make it out of the third inning. He allowed 6 runs in 2 1/3 innings in his first start since May yesterday. The Phils begin a 3-game series against the Mariners tonight. Ranger Suarez is on the mound. First pitch is at 6:45. The biggest story for the Phils over the weekend, though, however, was Zack Wheeler heading to the 15-day IL with a blood clot in his right shoulder. 15-day IL doesn't seem that bad, but there's probably no timetable for his return. As of now, there's speculation we have seen the last of him this season. We'll keep you updated on that. The Eagles now have one preseason game left on their agenda before they turn their focus to the regular season. In the meantime, Howie Roseman continues to make moves. The Birds acquired wide receiver John Mechie III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant. The team also exchanged late-round picks. This update was brought to you by Payday, packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is one hard-working candy bar, so grab one now to power you through your day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn, hanging out with you here on the Midday Show. Brendan Gunn producing the show, and we have obviously been talking about Zack Wheeler, a situation now where he is on the 15-day injured list with a blood clot near his throwing shoulder, which, again, we don't have a timetable. They haven't provided a timetable. There's more testing for him to have done, but one of those situations where you don't really expect to see him the rest of the way this year, and more so you're just hoping for the best for him personally, and we're obviously hoping that, but talking a lot more about where this team goes from here. And I know our text line has an idea that's been thrown out quite a bit across the fan base this weekend. Brendan Gunn, what do we have there?
We got Ari in Warminster checking in saying, I think you have to give Painter his shot to be called up right now. If he does well, he can either piggyback a start off Luzardo or reverse that. And I can't trust Ranger, Luzardo, or Aaron Nola to go deep in the postseason, so maybe Painter can.
Well, there's two sides to this one. One, they said they were going with the six-man rotation. I know you would been telling me to go check out everything that Scott Lawbright write about. The fact that he wrote that Thompson watched every pitch of Andrew Painter's AAA start over the weekend certainly tells you that there is interest in what's happening down there for him. But if you look at the large sample of Andrew Painter at AAA this season,
not hasn't justified a trip up. No,
it has not. However, desperate times, desperate measures. How close do you think we are to that?
Well, one factor too. They only have 4 off days the remainder of the year.
Right.
One coming up this Thursday. And then you have the weird one on the Tuesday after Labor Day. There's another couple. Yeah. So you may have to go to a 6-man rotation just to keep your guys from being completely burned out. And if that's the case, then yeah, Painter is the logical guy up. I don't know if I like bringing him up just to bring him up as like it feels like a Hail Mary heave at that point.
And would they, like, this is also just starting to walk down the path of if
he's not a playoff guy, by the way.
No.
Not at all.
He can't be.
No, he's not Marty Bystrom.
Walking down the line here with this plan, if he comes up for a 6-man rotation, all right, fine. If, say, Suarez again struggles tonight, and it's decided that maybe he needs a reset, and he needs to go to the 15-day injury, bringing Painter up to be a part of a 5-man rotation would be interesting in the way they manage him innings-wise. Because, again, they've been very protective of their young arm.
Yeah,
I would imagine that's going to continue. Having him in a 5-man rotation, they're going to be more so when you mentioned just a few number of innings left. Like, they had built-in emergency option, like in terms of having Taijuan Walker still on this roster. Joe Ross was a swing man last year for the Brewers. Like, they had a number of options here. Those options starting to dwindle, and it certainly dwindles when a guy since 2020 who's thrown some of the most innings in all of baseball is no longer available to you, and the guy that's right there with them in the most innings of baseball since 2018 wasn't able to get out of the third inning yesterday.
Painter's high in the minors for innings was 103 2/3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's already at 92 2/3. And by the way, the 103 2/3 came in 22, so we're talking 2 full years beyond it. I don't know if they're going to necessarily push him. I really don't. Again, if you have to do that with Suarez, if you have to put him on the IL,
right. And he's just the example I throw out there. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
But I think they would consider it at that point because there's no other option. Like, who else are you bringing up from down there? You can't. At that point, you got to bring Painter up. And maybe that's what they're considering. Maybe that is the way when Rob Thompson's staying up and waking up at 3 a.m. to watch it on a Sunday morning before he goes to an 11:30 game. Maybe that's what they're considering. But I think if you're expecting Andrew Painter to be the magic bomb here, it's not going to happen.
And we got in our YouTube chat. Hello to our YouTubers. Good to see you all. I hope you all had a nice week. We had a cool story over the weekend. A couple of our YouTubers got together that up at Andy Lambertsville at his restaurant at MBD in town. Got to go up there. Very nice. So the YouTubers, love that you guys are hanging out. Love to see you guys engaging. Dave P.
We were here watching exhibition football.
Yeah. Dave P. On our YouTube chat saying, Ray, you're not providing much solutions. My question for all of you is, what is the solution here? Because I'm really down on this team right now, but that's because when I look at the solutions, none of them feel right. And like the whole almost Moneyball of this is like, yeah, can we recreate Zack Wheeler in the aggregate? Like,
You can't.
you can't. So that's why I feel the way I feel today, because I could throw a ton of different proposals at you. Any of these proposals with the starting rotation will feel incomplete. And that's why I end up getting to the point where it's like, yeah, this season, there's a lot that still has to play out. There's obviously a chance they get hot, play their best baseball at the right time. So I can't say it's 0%, but I certainly don't feel the way I felt going into the weekend about this team. And on Monday, last week, when we came on the air following the sweep, I feel entirely different in 1 week's time, and it's because you are likely going to be without your ace for the rest of the way. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
And Kieran just says, isn't it? You could sure use Abel right about now, on the chat. But then again, if you don't trade Abel, you don't have Duran.
Right.
And you're probably in a more desperate situation at that point if you have Mick Abel on this team in your starting rotation, and you're still counting on Matt Strahm and Ryan Kerkering to close out games.
David Robertson was the only big acquisition they made in their bullpen. What a disaster from Dave Dombrowski. That's what August 1st would have been.
Yeah.
Like, you made that deal with the thought process of what you had. Like,
Again, people
I can't,
saying they should have sold. There was no way they could have sold. No. You're in first place. You're not the White Sox who sold when Tony La Russa was the manager and all that. No, you don't do that. But I mean, stuff happens. I hate saying it that way, but this is stuff you can't anticipate, and this is just bad luck right now for the Phillies.
Yeah, and we're going to...
By the way, can I also say,
go ahead.
People wondering why, well, why didn't they see, it's incompetence. They didn't see this 3 weeks ago when there was an MRI. They were probably not looking for a blood clot on an MRI at that point. The symptoms, apparently, according to Wheeler and the trainer, changed on Friday night. The arm felt heavy.
And now we're here.
Yep.
So we're going to continue to react to what
We're
they
gonna
can do
keep
to the
crying
rotation and kind of where this team's chances are at right now without Zack Wheeler. And you can get in at 610-632-0975. Our leadoff there, the Dr. Matt Elf, coming up at the bottom of this hour. And also, we're going to explain that trade as best we can that the Eagles made. Before getting into we're going to do what we did for 2 hours in 10 minutes.
God, I'm having flashbacks.
Eagles, Browns, riveting football, breaking it down for you right here on The Fanatic. He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Middays on 97.5.
The summer
day.
Did he annoy you the rest of last week?
Yeah. Yeah. No, he hates kids. He hates fun. He hates, what was it? Oh, he hates the
He
fact
hates
that
weddings.
He hates
I
designated
don't hate
hitters.
weddings.
He's anti-DH. He actually would prefer that Bryce Harper watch the 2022 season instead of participate in it.
Baseball wasn't a better game when you had to think about it a little bit more.
I do miss the strategy stuff. I do.
You can miss the strategy. I
yeah.
enjoy watching this product more than I watch Aaron Harang bat 3 times.
God. Come on. Lay off Droopy Dog.
I actually want to see what his career batting average was. Now that I threw that out there, maybe he was a good hitter. I don't know. I forget the numbers for Aaron Harang. He was the first random pitcher.
Is that the first Aaron Harang reference in the history of this station?
No. We had to talk about him in 2015.
No, you didn't. I covered that team.
You had to.
No, you didn't. Nobody talked about the Phillies back in 2015.
.097 batting average. That's who you're stumping for to bat.
But that one hit was electric.
Did he have a homer?
He had 1 career homer.
And it was amazing. I guarantee it.
In 2009, 2013, he had his highest batting average of his career. Take one guess. That's why, because he only had 11 plate appearances because he played in the American League for half the season.
Probably 128.
182.
Okay. Well, I got
11
I got
plate
the numbers mixed up.
The Castellanos, Aaron Harang.
Come on down.
Come on.
What's the difference?
Cassie saved himself yesterday.
Oh, yeah. And then I am enjoying in the 9 o'clock hour while I'm sitting out there listening to the morning show, trying to figure out what the outfield is. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's a fun game.
sure. Outfield.
Tonight, Castellanos, Marsh, Kepler.
No, I think you'll get Bader tonight.
So no Kepler.
No.
Okay. I'm good with that. Though if I was in charge, I'm good with that. Let Casty try and show you that yesterday wasn't just a mirage. If he believes he should play every day, go ahead. Prove to me that yesterday wasn't obviously off the lefty, so doesn't really solve all the problems. But hey, show me that yesterday wasn't a mirage. All right. Go right ahead. That's what today would be. But honestly, arguing
God,
over
I can't wait
platoons-
to the offseason when he's gone.
Arguing over platoons feels so secondary when the whole Zack Wheeler thing is still at the top of my brain. And I know Greg in Bethlehem wants to jump in on that 610-632-0975. Greg, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, Greg.
Hey, the Phillies balloon hasn't burst, but it's leaking a lot of air. I think this season is going to come down to what we get out of middle relief and the bats at this point. We went from having the strongest starting lineup to struggling. I think it's time for Taijuan Walker to earn his keep. And, I think he could be a number 2, certainly a number 3. Sanchez, obviously, number 1. And, Luzardo, Suarez, you have to see what they've got, but I think we're going to have to rely a lot on the middle relief.
Isn't that a terrifying proposition?
Yeah,
3 weeks ago,
Tanner Banks and
hey, what do you think is the most important thing to this team right now? Well, I guess the lineup and the middle relief. That if you told yourself that 3 weeks ago, or better yet, if in April you said the second starter in your playoff series is going to be Taijuan Walker, how would you feel right now?
Well, I know. It's amazing. It almost feeds into the Philadelphia psychology of we can't have nice things.
And Greg, we appreciate the phone call. It does eat into little of that idea, but really, it was just a weekend. That was a brutal weekend of sports across the board.
Oh yeah,
just from Duran Friday night.
All it needed was the Sixers to drop. Hey, Embiid's not going to be ready for camp.
Yeah, so you basically got that middle of the week.
Well, yeah.
Nick Nurse said he was
That's
unsure.
true.
Yeah,
That's true.
So maybe you did. Last 7 days, pretty much since everyone crowned the Phillies last Monday, we have not had a real nice thing at all.
No,
It's been just one.
the Duran thing ended up being not
right.
terrible.
But did you sleep Friday night? I didn't.
Well, yeah, I did, but
I didn't sleep.
NyQuil helps a lot.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. You can age yourself to sleep, I guess, probably
Yeah,
at some point.
pretty much.
One thing we did get over the weekend was the trade for John Mechie for the Eagles. Give me your best explanation. They could address any number of positions on the field. Wide receiver they make the trade for. Give me your best explanation.
I think they're going to use wide receiver as a position to trade out of to get a corner.
Dotson?
I think they were bulking up their depth so they can make a move.
Dotson?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, at this point, would it surprise you?
No, I don't think it'd be rather surprising if they traded Dotson.
I mean,
It's just
they
one of those
traded a
deals-
guy. They traded a guy who's not going to make the roster as the third tight end.
Right. No, it's not a bad move. I don't like.
I love the pick swap again of the pick swaps that were already pick swapped.
Yes, that's nice. They have got some sort of relationship going with the Texans that is good. Good. Send it out to the AFC. Nothing really
It's
consequential.
like Ruben Amaro and Ed Wade.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about that one coming back to bite you. And I fall somewhere in the camp of, oh my gosh, how he does it again to,
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Like, I can't really lose my mind over this trade. The more thing was, what does this mean going forward? What happens next with this? Is there a second deal, like you say, on the way? Or is this just them saying, hey, I understand you guys really liked what you saw from Darius Cooper. I understand that Ray really liked what he saw from Anais Smith. But let's relax. I understand we spent 14 hours last
They were
week hyping
listening
up
to
Johnny
you.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Yeah. I understand. Hey, on the drive home.
That's right.
Saturday. They were listening. Right?
sure.
Really likes Anais Wilson. Or Anais Wilson.
Howie
Smith.
in the room. Howie in the car consulted with Mike the Switch and ended up coming over.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's could be suffering from STDs, and he want to make sure he got rid of that sports talk delusion syndrome.
Go see a doctor for that.
But what it really means to me, one of the Camp Darlings isn't making it. Like, I think for the 6 wide receivers, maybe they trade Dotson, or they're just looking at it like, all right, Johnny Wilson, good blocking, not necessarily
Yeah, I could
a
see
threat.
I could see Johnny Wilson being out of here. Couldn't you?
I could see him being like the 5th. I could see them keeping 6 and just Darius Cooper being the one where they lop off, where Anais Smith ends up being the punt returner.
Practice squad.
Yeah. They snatch him
Possibly.
around. That's kind of what I saw from it. Or there's something coming down the line. We're going to give you our condensed version of the 2-hour post-game show that we did on Saturday after that Cleveland Browns.
God, I don't even remember it.
If you missed the preseason game, what you missed was Drew Makuba and a lot of nothing else. He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. We'll break it down for you. Coming up next here on the Midday Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Zack Wheeler to the IL. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies weekend was jam-packed, to say the least. It concluded with an 11-9 win over the Washington Nationals yesterday. That game, though, was also mixed with up and downs. As for the good, the bats came alive. Nick Castellanos put together a multi-hit game, including a home run, as did Alec Boehm in his return from the IL. Boehm went yard with a 3-run shot. Now for the bad, Aaron Nola failed to make it out of the third inning. He allowed 6 runs in 2 1/3 innings pitched yesterday, and his first start since May 14th. The Phils begin a 3-game series against the Mariners tonight. Ranger Suarez is on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. The biggest story of the weekend for the Phils, however, is Zack Wheeler heading to the 15-day IL with a blood clot in his right shoulder. As of right now, there is no direct timetable to his return. We'll keep you updated on that as that story progresses. The Eagles now have one more preseason game left on the agenda before they turn their focus to the regular season. In the meantime, Howie Roseman continues to make some moves. The Birds acquired wide receiver John Mechie III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant. The teams also exchanged late-round picks. This update was brought to you by Audible. Audible's Romance Collection has something to satisfy every side of you, because you can't be pinned down unless you want to be. Your first love story is free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com. I'm Brandon Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Welcome back into the midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington of Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Alongside Kevin Cooney, I'm Ray Dunn. Brendan Gunn producing the show today. A lot of Phillies conversation. Early getting to the Eagles in just a second. Kevin, I want to ask your ruling on something.
Sure.
Because I've decided once a week I'm going to go put together the show sheet at like a local coffee shop that I like near where I've just moved. And basically it's a way to get myself out of bed and up earlier and moving earlier in the day. I decided today would be that day. This has nothing.
I was wondering if there was another reason. If you saw somebody at that coffee shop, you want
No. That's more the reason why I go to the gym.
I mean, I was just going to say, I know, according to YouTube,
To be very clear, I was talking about front desk at the gym. I'm like, oh, wow, yeah. No, that's good. Hi, yeah, I'll get a protein shake. I'll get a protein shake for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Smooth move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody else has tried that either.
I am so aware of the lack of shot I have that it's so beyond just any possibility of it. I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I'll make nice conversation. This will be good for both of us. Really, neither of us, but fine. But the coffee shop thing. Today I'm walking down and someone runs past me. And they have no headphones in and they're blasting music as they're running in the morning. I understand it's a fleeting moment in which you will actually hear their music, which leads me to say, is this wrong or is this right?
I don't care.
You don't care. I think it's kind of, especially early in the morning, I think it's wrong. Put the headphones, even just the wired ones, just put headphones in. Why you got music going while you're running? For everyone else to hear.
When did Ray become like a 75-year-old man?
I just think it's weird. Like, you're running past people with the, like...
Brendan, am I wrong?
The Zack Wheeler stuff's really gotten to him.
I'm just saying it. Like, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. You're running past people's apartments. It's, you got music going.
If you had a home, you'd be yelling, "Get off my grass!"
I'm yelling, "Get off of my sidewalk!" I don't know. I thought it was bad.
The 25-year-old senior citizen.
I'd spent too much time around Salciunas, I guess. I'm curious how people feel about that. I know how people feel about this preseason game this weekend, though. That you did not get much. Drew Makuba ends up being the big storyline, like the positive storyline out of this one. The pick six, recovered the fumble. It looked good
always
out
around
there.
the ball.
Always around the ball. So I think that safety job seems like we've got the inside track to that one. One thing we didn't figure out at all in that game, who the second corner is going to be. Vic Fangio spoke earlier today. Still doesn't sound like they have any idea who that second corner is going to be. I heard Andrew DeCecco on the morning show today. He thinks Jacorian Bennett has a little bit of the inside track right now of the guys.
Or Adoree Jackson, as of right now, would be like the default option.
Right. Would be the, all right, we didn't decide anything. It took a little longer for Bennett to, the floor guy. Love that. Love that
floor
phrasing.
guy.
He's the floor guy.
Yeah.
What do you feel comfortable with what they have in the secondary right now, or do you feel like there's still another move coming here? And that move might be,
there has to
like
be
you
another
said.
move.
Okay.
There has to be. Jacorian Bennett may be part of it. I don't know if Adoree Jackson is part of it long term. I certainly now know Keely Ringo's not the answer because Keely Ringo is dropped the second team, which tells you that they're kind of out on Keely Ringo.
They wanted him to win this job.
They did.
Badly.
They gave him every opportunity.
Trading for Bennett was the first sign that what they wanted wasn't going the way they wanted it to. Adoree Jackson and the way that Fangio spoke about him early in camp would make you think that it was like, yeah, this is kind of a prove-it thing, but we've got our guy here.
The reason Keely Ringo may stay on this roster is because of special teams.
Yeah, and I think he's been in the system, too, long enough where they're like, if in a pinch we need a guy, they'll put him out there. It is telling, though, last year that Rodgers was the guy over him. And I know this is something that I forget who's been opining on this. Why didn't you just keep Rodgers?
And the other thing, obviously, that was mentioned today was that Cooper DeJean may get some looks at outside corner today.
I thought Fangio was saying not at that time.
No.
Oh.
I saw that from I saw it on a tweet.
Right.
That basically.
I thought I saw the exact opposite of that. So good for him, I guess. Not good for him. Not good for anything. I don't want him out there.
No, I don't either.
I want him, it's very difficult to play that inside corner position.
Rather have him there than safety, but
yeah,
he's not a safety.
I'm trying to find the Cooper DeJean tweet now that you
Anthony
brought that
DeBono.
up.
When asked why he hasn't seen Cooper DeJean at outside corner yet, watch today's practice. Then confirm that DeJean is the mix at outside corner, but he also said DeJean will remain slot at nickel package.
Yeah, Kemsky said it. McLean's tweeted it out. He's going to get some run outside.
Yeah,
today.
so what I saw is Vic Fangio said not at this time about considering DeJean on the outside and play someone else in the slot. That's what I'd seen from Berman.
So what it may be is they may give him, when they're in a base package, he may end up on the outside. And then when they go into a nickel, he'll go back to slot, which really is what they'll be in 80% of the time
anyway.
anyway.
Since they've figured out, I think that they like Makuba out there at safety. And I think that after one
I think that
game,
portion of it is over.
So if you want to get your best 11 on the field, DeJean's better than anyone you have at the outside right now. So
yeah.
I'm okay with that. I just don't want him. If they need an inside corner, I want him at inside corner. That's more where that goes. Also, we found out if you need a third quarterback this season,
start praying.
He's not currently on the roster. Like Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I think.
Kyle McCord, at least, you go, okay, he's a rookie.
Right. I think DTR played himself out of a job.
Yeah, probably.
Over the last 2 weeks. And Kyle McCord, I think, will get the developmental curve where it's like, he's just coming along. He's a guy we drafted who wants to see how he grows over a year in that system and see how it plays out. So I think he gets saved by that. Might also be a practice squad guy.
I was just going to say, DTR will play all 4 quarters against the Jets on Friday night.
You think?
Sure. He's not going to be here on Saturday, so why not let him get destroyed?
Well, I think you would want McCord to at least get a little bit of the opportunity. And speaking of
I'm half joking.
Speaking of the
offensive line was not
backup
good.
Offensive line was another thing that stood out from that game. That was a concern, especially considering where you're going to. And I know coming up later in the show, I want to get to a little bit of the 53 that the Enquirer put together following that game. Brett Toth, I'm spoiling the real punchline of that story, was on the outside looking in that story.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty interesting. That who's going to be in there for Landon Dickerson if Dickerson can't go week 1? And starting a season with 2 new starting guards?
Not ideal.
Not ideal for a team that was so run heavy a year ago, does so much in the running game, and obviously that tush push that we all talk about. So there's a few things there that concern me coming out of that game. I'm curious for those that stuck around for what was a marathon of a preseason game, the takeaways on that at 610-632-0975. We also didn't mention Josh Campbell.
Who apparently is rotating along with Trott today as the backup linebacker with Zach Ball back at practice.
And Fangio said they're taking those battles into the third preseason game. So I imagine we'll still see Campbell. We'll still see...
Shortly, yeah.
Yeah, Trotter. I can't imagine we're going to see a ton of them, but we'll see them early in that game on Friday night up at MetLife against the Jets. Friday night, I'm thinking that we just might break down some preseason football. All right, let's go to the text line here, 610-632-0975. Brendan Gunn, what do we got on the text line so far today?
Well, this guy wanted to get his point across because I just checked it again, and he sent the exact same text message. So that's how much he hates Aaron Nola, apparently. Please, Phillies, do all of Philly and the Phillies a favor. Move on from Aaron Nola. We've seen enough. Please trade him. Get some kind of value for him. I cannot watch that guy go out there again, no matter how much you guys are going to try to tell me he might find it. He's not going to.
Who's going to trade for Aaron Nola?
Nobody.
He has a no trade also because he's a 10-5 guy.
You remember that bit they pulled on, was it Kyle Kendrick?
To Japan?
They traded him to Japan?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes. That
might have been Brett Meyer's best moment as a Philly.
Come on, they had bad against CC.
Well, that's true. All right, second best.
Second best moment. Clinching 07.
Okay, just stop it.
All right.
You're defeating my joke.
Sorry.
What about the hit?
The walk?
Yeah, bad.
The walk, yeah. It was a walk.
Yeah, they would dribbler up and down the line a bunch of times.
Yeah. So 3
pitchers getting to hit.
So
Brett, by the way, did you see Brett's tweet after the Duran thing on
Yeah, he's not thrilled Duran
Friday
didn't finish that game.
That he got carted off?
Which also was a joke. The procedure in which that went. The bullpen cart coming out. Now that he's okay, we can all say that was just insane. The fact that you can't get the medical card out there. And
it's pinned in before concert stuff. Can we say enough with post-game concerts too, by the way? They had 3 of them last week. On that trip, there were 3 games that had post-game concerts.
Well, the Cincinnati one, we were starting a game at 5:10. It's just ridiculous. That's absurd to me. Ridiculous. But let's go back to the text there about Nola. Here's the hard truth about this, everyone. Get comfortable. All right? You're going to be watching
He's got
him.
5 more years.
Yeah.
We're talking about Castellanos' contract being untradeable, and he's got 1 more year.
Right. You're going to be watching Aaron Nola,
There wasn't.
whether you like it or not.
I hate to break it to you, there wasn't a big market for Aaron Nola when he was a free agent.
Oh, there was a team, I think, down south that had some interest.
I think they did that to drive the price up on the Phillies.
And it worked.
It did.
It worked.
It worked.
It worked. All right, coming up, while we're talking about the Phillies, I saw a column today in the Inquirer from Marcus Hayes, and I'm going to say that there was someone that works within these four walls, not on the air, so be clear, I'm just making a joke about our guy Mike Vito, that came in and gave us pretty much that exact take that I think some of the fan base right now has. We've seen before the star of a team go down and still win a championship.
Don't overreach.
We will break down that mindset. Wentz and the 2017 Eagles. Wheeler and the 2025 Phillies.
It's the Ewing theory, as Bill Simmons used to say.
We will look at it as we continue to react to Zack Wheeler and the situation with the blood clot that has put him on the 15-day injured list. And obviously, we speculate not seeing him the rest of the way this season. He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Take it through middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Do you feel unfulfilled? Do your afternoons feel like
Bill's already here.
I was just going to say.
11 o'clock hour. Bill's here, ready to go.
Wait. Somebody can show up here 3 hours before their show.
He's already complaining about the temperature inside the studio. TV star needs it just right. You know.
Wait till he sees the light.
Yeah,
issue.
the lights. I don't know what's going on in here with that, but we got that going on, and we got plenty of Phillies conversation. Coming up 11:25, Todd Zeleki covers the Phillies for MLB.com. He will join us to talk about a weekend full of news for the Phillies. The biggest, of course, Zack Wheeler and the blood clot that is near his sore right shoulder that has put him on the 15-day injured list. And I was going through the Inquirer today, which today, by the way, I woke up.
Best to read it every day.
I always read it in the morning. It's something I do for every show sheet. And I woke up today at like 2 a.m. to a message that my subscription was canceled. I was
Pay the bill, buddy.
I was like, wait a second. I'm almost sure I'd try and keep up on every single bill. I was like, I did not cancel that subscription, so I had to go resubscribe today. And that's where I saw this, where the headline from Marcus Hayes' column today, asked Carson Wentz, the 2017 Super Bowl winning Eagle. Phillies have hope even without Zack Wheeler. Now, the cross-sport comparison always throws me for a loop. When we do this about anything, like when we always do like best players in this city or who means the most to the city, and like you're comparing a 1 of 53 to like 1 of a dozen when it comes to basketball, or you're comparing the impact of a starting pitcher on the impact of linebacker, like always feels tough for me. This comparison specifically also feels very tough for me because it's the down-the-line impact that you mentioned earlier. I go into a series with Zack Wheeler in Game 1 and they win Game 1 and I still get to throw Christopher Sanchez at you. That's awesome. And I still have another Wheeler start. That, like, my percentage of winning goes way up. It's why last year when they lost Game 1 to the Mets, because they wasted that Wheeler performance,
You know it was over.
I thought it was over. That, to me, I understand what Mark's trying to get across here, that, like, there is always a chance. Like, you've always got the opportunity. You can find an unlikely hero, an unlikely storyline. He goes through the storylines, and the fact that the Eagles were down more than just Carson Wentz, all the different things that they triumphed from that season. They got one-off games in the postseason. They had that bye. They just get by the Falcons, and Nick Foles finds the magic for 2 incredible games right there in the postseason. They were positioned already pretty much that they just needed to not mess up to get themselves that bye and get themselves into the position where they ended up capitalizing on. Phillies right now, very much neck and neck for that bye, very much going to have to deal with the impact of a series without Wheeler instead of a game without Wheeler. And you have to ask multiple guys to find the magic here without it.
Well, and here's the argument. Okay, if you want to use the comparison of Wentz, okay, Nick Foles played every game. You know, when he got on a hot streak, that was Nick Foles played every game. Whoever's coming in as your starter to replace Wheeler in this rotation is not going to play every game. And you may say, well, that means it's more likely. No, it doesn't, because the momentum and the faith that was built up in 17 with Foles that those guys had may not be there every night. It may not. It significantly weakens games 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
And that's where, again, what we talk about with slotting, that's where the problem is for this team. The problem is not that they can't go win it. It's their best hope of winning it just got thrown out the window.
And we've talked about it a lot when it comes to this team in general. Do you believe that the lineup for 6 weeks can catch that spark and find that role? Now it has to. Now it's not a question of can they and are they going to be able to do enough to support this pitching staff. It's a must for that lineup to catch it for 6 weeks. And that's also the difference between this and football. You needed 3 magical postseason games. I'm not taking anything away from the first Lombardi that this city got.
Right.
It was a tremendous run. They absolutely earned it.
And it would never be duplicated.
They overcame a ton, and it'll never be duplicated, which is also part of the odds of that happening in football were so low. And now you're asking, essentially, the Phillies to recreate that where they lose at least 6 Wheeler, at least 5 Wheeler starts in that time.
Probably
Let's say
6.
Probably 6. 5 to 6 Wheeler starts in that time. They're going to lose. I'll say we'll keep it at 5. You're losing 5 Wheeler starts in that time, where you're going to have to go on a run of series that could go the max of 5, 7, 7.
Well, think of it, okay? Even, like, all right, so you figure 2 in the LCS, 2 in the World Series. 2 in the LDS with the way the schedule was set.
Right.
Okay?
Potentially, if you're up 2-1, you're getting him for that game 4 and a clincher.
Yeah. Whereas, like, let's play this out to an ultimate thing. Game 7 of the World Series. You don't even have Wheeler, like, potentially out of the bullpen, which you had, remember, Game 7 against the Diamondbacks.
I will never forget.
That he came in and pitched pretty well, given he was on short rest. This type of stuff, there's a trickle-down effect, and that's where it's tough right now. Look, could it happen? Sure. You know?
Yeah.
Could it? But there's also not living in a Disney movie where odds would tell you that it's probably 85 to 90% unlikely that it will.
And I would welcome the Marcus Hayes comment that Ray Dunn's an idiot for having this opinion the day of. He says, what, save your tears, grown men? That was a line in this column about people, how grown men cried when the Wentz news came down. You can say that I was crying all day
today. It's a little different, too. This team did go to a World Series before, right, the last couple of years. This isn't like a team that had a 52-year drought without a championship.
For this group, though, the crowning moment had to come soon, and it had to come with the healthy Zack Wheeler.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, like,
it'll be, look, if we assume that Wheeler's done for the year, it'll be fascinating to me to see what happens with their mindset going forward in the next year. Do they just assume he's going to return as the same old Zack Wheeler? I don't know if you can do that.
And the players that have decisions to make about their own careers.
Yeah.
That would say, is my best chance to win in Philadelphia.
I talked to a Phillies player for this book I'm doing with Paul Hagan. Mm-hmm. And he said, I asked him when he knew the run was over. He said the night we lost to the Cardinals. I'm like, well, you stuck around. He goes, yeah. He goes, I kept hoping I was wrong. He goes, but in my heart I knew it was over.
And it had, like, again, that's why today I opened the show and I know a couple people like, wow, Ray's really down today. Like, every good party doesn't end when the last guest leaves the party. Every good party ends before a lot of the people realize, yeah, maybe it's time we should go home. Like, the best of the time that you're having doesn't end as soon as the last person leaves. It ends before that last person leaves. And that's like, it kind of felt like as I continue to process this entire thing, like you mentioned the Cardinals series, and it's something I actually want to get up to at the bottom of the hour, like different injuries where you felt like, or different health circumstances, because this is certainly different. I don't want to just, look at just the impact on the field here, but this had one of those feelings of a health circumstance that really turned the lights off.
It does. And again, it could change if we get different words.
Yeah, if we get good word like that, I want to hold out for the hope in this one, but it's tough when this season you feel like you're not getting him back, and it's like, okay, we got to line up a lot of guys going into their mid-30s for another season and hope for another bit of
What was the stat they had on Roku yesterday? The Phillies had 16 players above 30 on their 26-man roster, and the Nationals had 2.
Right. That's the tough pill to swallow in the baseball sense of what happened.
At a time when the sport's trending younger.
Right. Coming up, we're going to talk to Todd Zeleki of MLB.com, covers the Phillies, to get a little word on what he's hearing about Zack Wheeler, where this rotation goes, and where this team goes at this point. He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn, the Midday Show right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A busy weekend for the Phils. I'm Brennan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yes, the Phillies weekend was jam-packed, to say the least. It concluded with an 11-9 win over the Washington Nationals yesterday. That game was mixed with up and downs as well. As for the good, the bats came alive. Nick Castellanos put together a multi-hit game, including a home run, as did Alec Boehm in his return from the IL. Boehm went yard with a 3-run shot. Now for the bad, Aaron Nola failed to make it out of the third inning. He allowed 6 runs in 2 1/3 innings pitched in his first start since May 14th. The Phils begin a 3-game series against the Seattle Mariners tonight. Ranger Suarez is on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. The biggest Phil story of the weekend, however, came with the news of Zack Wheeler heading to the 15-day IL with a blood clot in his right shoulder. As of right now, there's no more clarity on the timetable for his return, but we shall keep you updated once we get more information on that. The Eagles now have 1 preseason game left on the agenda before they turn their focus to the regular season. In the meantime, Howie Roseman continues to make some moves. The Birds acquired wide receiver John Mechie III III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant. The two teams exchanged late-round picks as well. This update was brought to you by Audible. Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you because you can't be pinned down unless you want to be. Your first love story is free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Welcome back into the midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn, taking you through it today. Coming up, we will be joined by the one and only Todd Zeleki, talking about the news of the weekend. And then, of course, the team that split over the weekend in D.C. Obviously, the disappointment in that, just because it's a Nationals team that...
They're not good.
No, not at all. Hoping for...
I excused Thursday night because of the whole airplane nonsense that they had of flying in at like 11:30 in the morning and getting stuck. You're giving me that look like you're not buying it.
No, I know, and especially those of you that have done the job of the beat, you guys know how draining bad travel could be.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Let's go talk to someone.
Plus also spending an extra night in Cincinnati.
Yeah, well, I want them to get out of Cincinnati so fast. That extra night in Cincinnati, if the Reds found out about it, they might have sent a nice gourmet meal.
Yes,
to the
exactly.
Room. Hey, man, remember us? We're still in love with you.
Skyline.
Yeah. God. Ugh. All right, speaking of guys on the beat, let's go to the Comcast Business Hotline and talk to the man that covers the Phillies for MLB.com. Also, one of the co-hosts of one of my favorite podcasts, The Phillies Show.
It was awesome last night. Awesome last night.
My drive.
Yeah.
All right, so... I got to listen to that later on.
Yeah.
He's the one and only Todd Zeleki. Todd, how are you today?
Hey guys, how are you?
We're good, Todd.
I've been better when it comes to Phillies news, and I'll start with the news of the weekend. Zack Wheeler obviously headed to the 15-day injured list with the blood clot near his throwing shoulder. Obviously, you wish the best for him personally in one of these scenarios, but I want to talk to you more about the precedent, and if there is any precedent for what you see in an injury or a situation like this, health-wise, with a blood clot in his shoulder. What should fans be expecting in terms of an absence from Wheeler?
Well, I think the fact that Dave Dabrowski and Paul Buchheit, their head athletic trainer, gave the health update immediately after the game kind of tells you the seriousness of this situation. It's certainly more than, and Rob Thompson then afterwards was asked about the timeline. You know, is there any chance he could pitch again? He's like, well, there's no timeline for his return. And, you know, obviously, and then he said, you know, I'm thinking about him and his family. And he said, because this is not just a hamstring injury. It's not just a sore right shoulder or, you know, a UCL sprain or anything like that. This is a very serious health issue. And so, you know, I hate to speculate on what it can mean and how much time he might miss, but I think it's safe to wonder if he's going to pitch again this season. You know, there's definitely that. There's a possibility of that, of you not seeing Zack Wheeler back in the mound pitching for the Phillies this season. We'll know more this week, but again, just based off what everybody said on Saturday in D.C. and you know, kind of people sending their thoughts and prayers to Zack and his family, kind of tells you kind of where this situation is. It's something that just it can't be messed around with.
So one of the things that we've all learned is what a number one starter and confidence does for the rest of a clubhouse. You know, it kind of, you know, lifts guys up. You know, we've all heard the stories about like Steve Carlton Win Day and when Hamels was on the mound and what Doc did. How much of a blow is it then to the clubhouse mentality of where this team is not having Wheeler there?
Well, it's certainly a blow every 5 days. You know, there's absolutely no question about it. You know, they know that they are losing one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and statistically speaking, one of the best postseason starters in baseball history. I think like he's top 10 in ERA of any starter who's made like 8 or more starts in the postseason. So they understand what this loss means on the mound every 5 days. But I will say that this team has, you know, because it has such a veteran presence, I don't think it's something where they're just going to fold up and go, well, all right, it's over, we're done. You know, they've dealt with injuries before, with significant injuries before with everyday players throughout the course of a season. You know, they've missed Harper, obviously, for extended periods of time, and other players. So I think that they, mentally speaking, they're equipped to handle a loss like this. They feel that they're going to say, well, you know, we've got Sanchez. We still have Suarez and Luzardo. Hopefully Nola bounces back, which is I get as a big if right now. But they have enough talent to kind of make this work. And I think they're also smart enough to go, look at some of the teams that have been successful in the postseason in the past few years. They've somehow made it work with kind of a patchwork rotation. I think this rotation still, as many questions as it has, is better than a patchwork rotation. But, I don't think anybody in this clubhouse, the Phillies clubhouse, is going to go, well, it's over. Maybe we can get Zack back next year and take a run at it next year.
You just walked right into where I wanted to get with this, talking about the rotation and what it looks like right now. It seems as if they've moved off of that six-man plan because obviously that included Wheeler. But looking at what they have right now in terms of the rotation and what they would want it to get down to in October, how do you size it up?
Boy, it's interesting now because now Sanchez becomes your number one. I mean, he's a Cy Young candidate, no question about that, right? And then everything else is kind of this gray area. You would say ideally, just a few weeks ago, you would have said, well, okay, easy, Sanchez, Suarez. But Suarez has really struggled the last several weeks. He hasn't looked like he's the same. Luzardo has been really kind of hot and cold, and he got off to that unbelievable Cy Young caliber start, and then he had those two big blow-up games, and he's been kind of up and down since then. Although his stuff is maintained, he's still throwing, he's still got the same type of stuff, quality of stuff, but you kind of just don't know really necessarily maybe what you're going to get from start to start. And then you have Nola, of course, who has had such a tremendous career and has pitched pretty well at times in the postseason. And going into Sunday's game, you sit there and go, man, if they could get good Nola back, boom, that solves a major, major problem for them and answers a major question for them. But then he goes out in the third inning, and everybody knows what happened. He just lost it, and he blew a 6-run lead. So then you have Taijuan Walker, who's actually pitched pretty well. So I don't know. Crazier things have happened. I mean, if Nola's struggling and Suarez is struggling, they only need 3 starters the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. I'm talking, well, 2 obviously in the first round, the wild card series. But if they would clinch a first round bye or they would advance to the NLDS, they only need 3 starters. So they have some moving pieces there for sure. But nothing I would say is absolutely concrete other than Sanchez at the very top.
Part of the reason they were going to go to the 6-man rotation was the idea of taking some of the innings load off of Wheeler and off of Suarez, which leads to the point that Scott Lauber wrote about this morning in the Inquirer about the fact that Rob Thompson's studying every Andrew Painter pitch the other night after all the Wheeler news comes down. Do you see a scenario right now where they bring Painter up, even though his performance right now hasn't justified bringing him up?
I do. I also think that you could make the argument, and I made this, Kevin, you mentioned, like with Jim and Ruben yesterday on our show, is that you could make the argument that it's even more important now to go to a 6-man rotation, in that as well as Sanchez is pitching, he's approaching a career high in innings pitched. And if you were concerned 2 days ago about Ranger Suarez's workload and monitoring his workload to keep him as fresh as possible going on the stretch, well, now it's even more important that you keep him, that you try to manage his workload going down the stretch, because now you don't have Zack Wheeler and Sanchez at the top. Same thing with Luzardo, who missed most of last season with an injury. So, he's pitched way more than he did last season. So you have to keep an eye on him. And, Aaron Nola is going to need to be monitored maybe his first few starts through, because, he's still kind of building back up. And so you could definitely make the argument that they need to find somebody to stretch to pitch every 6th day, and go to a 6-man rotation. Maybe that's Andrew Painter. Alan Ronhell is the only kind of other starter on the 40-man roster. So, I guess you could go with him. At some point, maybe they just try to, Joe Ross has some starting rotation experience, of course. Maybe they turn to him. But I still think that even if they don't go to a 6-man in the short term, I still think they have to go to a 6-man at some point with the freshness, the workload issues of all those other guys I mentioned even more critical.
And they only have 4 off days left. I mean, so the schedule kind of dictates it, doesn't it, a little bit, going through the rest of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, so I get why Rob said, well, we're going to stick with the 5-man now. They're going to get Alvarado back on Wednesday. So I guess they could stick with the 5-man for a little bit to figure things out. But Painter pitched on Saturday in Lehigh Valley. He gave up, I think, 3 runs, 2 earned in 5 innings. He hasn't been great recently. He got kind of blown up I think it may have been 2 starts ago, and he's got an ERA over 5 and 17 starts in Lehigh Valley. But you almost, in a sense, you almost have to look at it like, even if he's struggling, or say, just for argument's sake, they go, we're going to have Alan Ronhell be our 6th starter. You almost just have to look at it like, this is something we just need to do, regardless of, do we think he's going to be super effective, and do we think he's going to be like, the second coming or not, just because we need to monitor the workload of these other guys. So they might just kind of have to suck it up and go, are we getting the best guy? Is this necessarily the best game day decision to have a 6-man rotation? Maybe not, but we have to think about the long run here and the long haul, and how these guys how effective they might be in the postseason.
Oh, man. Well, that debate's going to be fun. We'll stay tuned for a future segment on that one about how people feel about them punting every 6th game. Not punting, but effectively saying this is not our best look going forward every 6th
deep
day.
end of the pool at that point. That's what you would be doing to the kid, is throwing him into the deep end. Really.
Real quick.
But, he's talented. I will say, like, he's talented enough, and he has the stuff that it's not like he would go out necessarily and just get blown up. I think a lot of the issues have been fastball command, and if he's on, he's really, really good.
I want to quickly switch gears from pitching to just the lineup for a second, because I feel like I'm collecting outfield opinions and outfield commentary like Infinity Stones nowadays. I'm just curious, if Todd Zeleki was writing the lineup every day, how would the outfield be configured?
Boy, that's a great question. I like what Marsh has done recently. I would play Bader every day in center field. You got him to be, in my opinion, he should be an everyday player in center field, if not just for the defensive prowess. I would probably do what Rob has done the past maybe like 8 days, 9 days, and sit Castellanos every once in a while against a tough righty to get Max Kepler in there. If Max Kepler is swinging a good bat, which he has been the past 8+ days. So I would almost kind of go with the hot hand whenever I can. So, and then Castellanos, he had a big game yesterday. He had a double home run. It was his first multi-hit game since August 1st. I think it was his first game with 2 extra base hits since like June 22nd. Obviously, you need to do more than that, more consistently. But if he is struggling, I would try to mix and match in right field because it has not been good in right field for several weeks. I think he's got like he had the 3rd lowest OPS amongst all players in baseball since the All-Star break, the lowest WAR in baseball since the All-Star break, Nick Castellanos. So, but they need him to get going as well, and so it's easy to say like just bench him or platoon him, but in my opinion, it's tough to see them getting as far as they want to go if Nick is really struggling, if they're kind of platooning in right. But I like what Marsh has been doing recently. I want to see more of him, and I definitely want to see more of Harrison Bader.
How do you think Castellanos would take going in and out of the lineup?
Well, he's a very prideful guy, and he wants to play every day. So, and Rob has stuck with him in the past, but I think circumstances have changed. And so, if Nick says, like, listen, I think I should be playing every day, I mean, I guess my answer from my response, if I was Rob Thomas, would be, okay, go out there, start putting together some better at-bats, and you will be back in there every day. But until then, we're going to play Max out there every once in a while. And I'm not saying, like, go straight platoon. No. But I think it's 2 consecutive Saturdays where Nick has been on the bench. That's not super insulting for the guy who's been hitting like 130 since the All-Star break with a OPS under 500. I mean, that to me is actually pretty reasonable. So, if that would be Nick's response, and you always have to wonder about, you always have to keep that in mind. How is the player going to respond? But I think Rob is on very solid ground by sitting Nick right now. Maybe, hey, he didn't play on Saturday. Boom, big game on Sunday. maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe Nick would say it's absolutely ridiculous that you correlate those two situations together. Or maybe it actually meant something, and maybe it actually helped to get him out of the lineup for a day, and I've let him clear his head, and maybe it motivated him. Who knows? But they definitely need to see more from him going down the stretch, and I think they need to see more from him going down the stretch because it can't just be the Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper show in the postseason.
Hard turf, pre-planned day off. I'm just following what the reasons were every Saturday. That's what I'm going to keep collecting. Just keep noting what they're saying.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I talked to the people down in Texas. They've never heard of anybody complaining about the hard turf.
I love it.
But I understand why Rob said what he said, and but I don't think it's a major issue down there. So whatever you want to call it, it's got to be done.
Yeah, taking notes on it. That's all I'm doing, Todd. I appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much for making the time.
Thanks, so.
Take care, guys. See you.
Todd Zeleki on the Comcast Business Hotline, covers the team for MLB.com, does a tremendous job on the Phillies show. I'm glad I got that from there.
Yes.
That made my day.
That part about the hard turf?
Yeah, that made my day. Always great to talk baseball with him, but the fact that he threw that note in there at the end.
Pretty much got, there's no such thing as hard turf. God, if that turf was hard, what was the vet?
We will react coming up to what Todd had to say, and we kind of got into it earlier on the 11 o'clock hour, but the circumstances that we've felt similar were kind of similar to this, where the health situation happens. For a lot of times, it's the injury, and your entire trajectory, your entire outlook for a team changes. How can we best liken this to something else we've seen before? He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Take you through the midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, everybody.
That's right, middays here on The Fanatic. He's Devin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Brendan Gunn producing the show. And just had Todd Zeleki on. Always appreciate the chance to talk to Todd about everything going on with the Phillies. Got into some of the rotation options, and you mentioned it. It was a great episode of the Phillies show, and you mentioned the conversation they got into about it just being a necessity to go to a six-man rotation at this point. And I don't hate it. When we were talking about a couple weeks ago about the possibility of it showing up, I saw the merit in 100% of why they would do it, why they should go down the path of doing it.
And as Zoe said, it's now maybe more pressing because of the fact that you've now been down a guy in the rotation.
Right. And, I mean, Sanchez...
Plus you have a larger lead.
Sanchez with those innings, it's not the top concern right now because you have way more pressing concerns, but
Yeah,
I would not want to find out that they overworked him. I would prefer to not have that be something I find out later on in September.
You know, the one thing that'll be interesting in the offseason to see is, and this is, part of this is going to be gone when Ranger's gone, but how they treat their innings for some of their guys and conditioning and all that for their pitchers because of the idea that Suarez kept breaking down. Now Nola and Wheeler didn't.
No.
But you worry about it maybe now with Painter and Sanchez going forward.
Well, I go back to the Gelb story that he did on Sanchez earlier this year about his wife and all the, just the way he took his diet more seriously, how he took just basically training to get himself in shape. And it's like, Amy and I last week were saying, like, hey, double date with Ranger Suarez, hey, let's talk through these things. Like, hey, let's figure this out. Please help him out.
I wonder if Ranger knows his market is going to hell right now.
I think he has to, right?
Depends what Scott's blowing up his rear end. What smoke?
I mean,
Ranger,
I feel
talent buddy.
I feel like you have to know. Like you realize the trends that you have. I think there has to be a little bit of self-awareness there on that one.
You would think.
Maybe not. Maybe
the fact that you're like laboring now for another back end of a season and you miss the first month.
Fair.
It's not good.
No, it's not. And you know what else isn't good? I want to spend a quick aside here.
Go ahead.
Because this was thrown around, and we have the audio somewhere in there from last night at Little League Classic. Rob Manfred.
Is this where you want me to rip the Little League Classic?
No, this isn't where I want you to rip the Little League Classic. You and the Kids Hater will have an opportunity to do that later on, okay? The two of you we can talk about something that I hate genuinely, and that's the idea that baseball is going to geographically realign. So first, let's take a listen to what Rob Manfred had to say, and then we'll react to it.
In my mind, I think if we expand, it provides us with an opportunity to geographically realign. I think we could save a lot of wear and tear on our players in terms of travel. And I think our postseason format would be even more appealing for, entities like ESPN because you'd be playing up out of the East, out of the West, and that 10 o'clock time slot where we, sometimes get Boston, Anaheim, would be two West Coast teams, and that 10 o'clock slot that's a problem for us sometimes becomes a real opportunity for our West Coast audience.
I hate it.
Well, yeah, basically he's saying the American and National League are going away in the way you are used to it. But here's the thing. He's talking about saving wear and tear on the travel. This is the guy who decided that every team will play every other team with expanded interleague. He has no idea. He's throwing darts at the board and hoping something sticks. And some of the stuff has worked. The pitch clock has worked.
Oh, there's some things he's done well. Absolutely. But this screams
desperation.
Hunk of metal when talking about the trophy. He does not respect the history of the game.
No, he doesn't.
To throw the American and National League out is taking the character of baseball, taking away the history that's been built there. It's ridiculous.
Not every rivalry is East Coast.
Right.
And you're basically making it more of a regional game than it already is, and it's the most regional game of the Big Four at this point.
Well, did this start when they started playing every single team every single year? Was this slowly but surely going to get there once they did that?
Maybe.
So there was Jim Bowden, I guess, put out the proposed realignment, or the idea what could be the realignment in the Eastern Conference, which I shudder just saying when talking about baseball. Would have 4 divisions here in, again, his proposal, with the Phillies in the East, with the Red Sox, the Mets, and the Yankees. That's gross.
So a 4-team division?
8 4-team divisions is what he proposed. It's gross.
No.
It's disgusting. It's the NFL. It's like trying to NFL this. But also, the NFL respected its history with the NFC and the AFC.
No.
So the proposed divisions, Red Sox, Mets, Yankees, Phillies. The North would be the Reds, the Guardians, the Tigers, and the Blue Jays. The Mid-Atlantic would be the Orioles, Charlotte, the Pirates, and the Nationals. And then the Southeast would be the Braves, the Marlins, Nashville, and the Rays.
So basically, you're taking the 4 major market teams, lumping them in one division, and you're kind of trying to placate the other
Right.
the other ones.
You hear me say that, and what you hear is, wow, the East is going to be tough, and, I guess the Braves make the playoffs every year. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible proposal.
Yeah, they're doing it, though.
They better not. Like, this will be one of the things I go kicking and screaming talking about forever. I mean, this is just, it's disgraceful. It spits in the face of baseball.
Yeah. He's hot loogies on the face of baseball before, and he's the damn commissioner.
I mentioned the NFL. Coming up, we got the NFL Notes at noon with Brendan Gunn. He's also got the Gun at 1, coming up at 1 o'clock. So a lot of Brendan Gunn coming up on the show. Is that a good tease?
Please stick around. We both need to pay our mortgages.
Mortgage? You think I can afford a home? He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Midday Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
An up and down weekend for the Phils. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update, and it's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. The Phillies weekend was jam-packed, to say the least. It concluded yesterday with an 11-9 win over the Washington Nationals. That game, though, was also mixed with some up and downs. As for the goods, the bats came alive. Nick Castellanos put together a multi-hit game, including a home run, as did Alec Bowman. His return from the IL, he went yard with a 3-run shot. As for the bad, Nola failed to make it out of the third inning. He allowed 6 runs in 2 1/3 innings pitched in his first start since May 14th in the big leagues. The Phils begin a 3-game series tonight against the Washington Mariners. Ranger Suarez is on the mound. First pitch is at 6:45. The biggest story from the Phils over the weekend, though, was Zack Wheeler going to the 15-day IL with a blood clot in his right shoulder. There's no update on his timetable for a return yet. As soon as we know more, we'll let you know. The Eagles have one preseason game left on the agenda. In the meantime, Howie Roseman continues to make some moves. The Birds acquired wide receiver John Mechie III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant. The team also exchanged late-round picks. This update was also brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Need more data so you can stream your Jam mix on loop? Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get real unlimited on a reliable 5G network. Straight Talk available at straighttalk.com or Walmart. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's so gross that I'm doing this in my head right now, but I am trying the realignment in my own head. The realignment I'm not signing up for in baseball that Kevin's just telling me it's going to happen.
Get ready for expansion, too. Expansion is happening.
Yeah, expansion's going to happen. I've accepted expansion's going to happen, even though you still have problems within the 30 that exist.
If expansion doesn't happen in Montreal, it shouldn't happen.
Okay, so where are your two spots?
Well, I would go Montreal and Portland.
My uncle will be very happy. My uncle was actually talking about that with me because my aunt lives out there. She met him out there.
But where I think they're going to go, I think they're going Charlotte and Salt Lake City.
No Nashville?
I think Nashville's going to end up with one of the Florida teams. Probably Tampa if Tampa doesn't get the ballpark.
What is the fascination? And I know we got a couple of Utah listeners, so I this is with all due. What is the fascination with Salt Lake City?
Money. It's a rich area.
All right.
Be Colorado Part 2 with the ball flying.
All right. You know what? You want to know the terrifying truth, or you want to watch some dingers? Fine. I guess I'll go.
That's what it is.
I'll sign up for the home runs.
Like, I guess Nashville would be the other. Nashville, yeah. Either Nashville's going to end up with something out of this. Might be the Pirates, could be the White Sox. Who knows?
I think it's the White Sox.
I do too, because I don't think they're going to get that stadium built on the South Loop.
I don't think so either. I think when we talk about history, I think the White Sox are going to be history.
Especially once Reinsdorf dies. No, seriously. I'm not saying that, but Jerry's an old man. Jerry's trying to
sell,
and I'm not sure.
Who they're selling to is Nashville base? No?
I don't think it's a done deal yet, but there's some national.
There's enough red flags with the future of that organization. I think they end up in Nashville.
I'm not sure that. Look, I know I have friends who are White Sox fans, but I've yet to meet. I have relatives in Chicago, and I have friends in Chicago, and they're all Cub fans. The White Sox are the forgotten team.
Yeah. I mean, I think for this,
they
won
Cubs play an attractive ballpark. Cubs play. Yeah, Cubs are lovable losers. The White Sox are just losers.
Wrigleyville, man.
Wrigleyville's awesome.
Send me back. Send me back to Wrigleyville. I had a great time there.
What do you prefer, Fenway or Wrigleyville?
Ooh.
610-632.
Wrigleyville. I like the Fenway. Like we talk, Wrigleyville.
Yeah, Wrigleyville's.
Yeah. Send me back to Sluggers. All right, we got to get to the NFL notes at noon before I get just.
You're up in the cages, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. All right, let's get to it.
You're whiffing in the cages with everybody else at Sluggers.
No, man. My eye is good regardless. My eye is good regardless. Don't you worry.
All right, so moving on to around the NFL. Yesterday, a bunch of reports came out that the Bengals are now listening to offers on deals for Trey Hendrickson after an offseason of them not getting a contract together for him. Turns out, though, the asking price includes a young defensive player and a 2026 first-round pick. Do they get it, or is this just posturing?
How about John Mechie and a fifth-round pick? No, they'll get it. They'll get it.
Yeah, they'll get it from someone. Should they get it here?
That's a tough slotting. Cap-wise, it would be a tough slotting.
Yeah, it would be a tough slotting.
But look, what did Khalil Mack get? He's kind of the same as Khalil Mack.
They're going to get what they want from this.
Yeah.
From someone. I'm trying to think rookie quarterbacks. Because that's where rookie contracts, who would have the space to do it? I don't know the
Patriots.
Carolina.
Oof. Yeah, man, I think you should work it out there.
Washington.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Oh, no, Washington with all the vets they've signed, probably not.
Yeah, and Terry. They still got the McLaurin thing going on.
Yeah.
Imagine they go trade for Hendrickson. You got Terry McLaurin on line one. Just send that one to voicemail. I don't want to talk to him right now.
All right.
He's back off the pup.
Yeah, he is.
Moving on, I imagine you guys probably reacted to this in postgame, but it's a new audience on the midday show. The Dylan Gabriel comments that maybe were taken out of context. Some people didn't know. We'll play them for the people that can react, and you guys can react.
It's just part of it. You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that. And my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing. Of course, we're doing this mid-game, but it's something that I'll get used to, and just want to be the best team that I can and create an environment where we can all go do our best work. That's all we want to do.
So, yeah, we did react to this one on postgame because we saw it, and then we were made privy to the context.
We were looking for anything on postgame, to be honest.
We were reacting to anything and everything that came from that football game on Saturday. But to be clear, I want to bring up the Breer tweet because it was taken out of context. We got the context of it eventually, but the NFL... and
the NFL account tweeted it out that way.
Yes, which was just a really dirty thing to put your...
Brendan, can you imagine taking something out of context that is said, by somebody in your company?
I don't know.
I'm trying to find exactly where this tweet is because, no, of course, I can't find it. Greer said basically that the question was more about what you're doing in the quarterback
to keep
room
you all
to try
together.
and keep you all together. And he was trying to say that we're not entertainers, we're competitors, whole thing. It came off as a subtle shot at Shedeur Sanders. Do I think there's probably a little resentment there regardless? Yeah, I'd imagine so. You're fighting for a job, and that guy is like the biggest show going in town.
When asked, Shedeur said, watch my documentary for my reaction.
All right, moving on. We all
You deserved a rim shot on that one. You deserved a rim shot on that.
As we all talked about, the preseason game number 2 was much to forget for the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, apparently up in Buffalo, they're not happy with their performance. They lost 38-0.
I actually watched that
against the
last night.
Bears.
It was bad
over the weekend. And then Sean McDermott came out and said, that's not up to our standard. Got a lot of work to do. That's very clear. Doesn't matter who's out there, the ones, the twos, the threes, the fours, whoever it is. I expect them to compete, and they did not. Is he taking it a little bit too far for a preseason game with the threes and the fours?
I mean, getting smoked is not good, and it's certainly getting smoked when you got all those camera crews around you.
And national TV. They had national TV last night. It was Fox.
Oof.
I mean, Greg Olson.
Yeah, because they debuted the new scorebook.
Oh, Jesus God.
Not a fan.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's too much. I'm never a fan of a new sport. Like that's the most like change-resistant thing in the world. But new scorebugs usually to me always end up being like, why'd you have to mess with what?
See,
could you have spent
the Super Bowl?
Could you have spent that money on people? Is usually my takeaway instead of a whole new graphics pack.
I love how they felt that.
Nothing about that.
I love how they felt Greg Olson. I love how they felt Greg Olson needed the extra work of doing a preseason game, but that's fine with Tom. Tom doesn't need extra.
Tom's busy showing up to Raiders games and
looking like Al Davis.
Suit. Yeah, my God, whatever.
All right,
what do you got?
One final story. Do we need a third preseason game from Adam Schefter this morning?
No.
From the Falcons. They're not going to play Michael Penix Jr. They're not going to play Kirk Cousins. Their third-string cornerback, Emory Jones, is now in concussion protocol. They signed former Cowboy, great, Ben DiNucci to come in and play the third preseason game. At what point do you just chalk it up? And at what point, if you're Ben DiNucci, I'm saying, maybe I'll go be an accountant or something. Why are you going to potentially bust your head in?
You're here Friday
Like you're
night.
going to get destroyed.
You're not going to the Meadowlands on Friday.
I'm ready. If someone needs me, I'll suit up.
DTR to the Falcons.
I played 0 years varsity. I'm in the shape of my life.
3 years.
Yeah,
Varsity?
We do not need, especially with these joint practices, make that third game like 2 joint practices leading up to like, I don't know, some fair. I don't know how to get back that money at the gate.
But I was just going to say, but you can't charge $45 for parking at that point.
I know. We don't really need it if they don't really believe it.
You don't need a second one.
By the way, I want to let you know, real quick, you listen to WPN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcast live, Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. That's a buzzer beater right there for
Yes, you did.
Chris Jenkins, if
Let's
you will.
go.
What were you about to say?
Let's go. Let's go to the review to make sure you got it in on time.
How many guys getting the bulk of the snaps in these third preseason games are not going to be on an NFL roster at this time?
Eagles defense, those
You get to put stuff on tape, and it gets Ross Tucker happy. You're taking Ross Tucker's happiness away.
All right, coming up. Thank you. Wonderful job with the NFL notes at noon. Back to the Phillies.
Yes.
Zack Wheeler news. Which Phillies are under the most pressure now without Zack Wheeler a part of this rotation? He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. This is the Midday Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Monday, August 18th. The
97.5 The Fanatic. He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Brendan Gunn producing the show. Gunn at 1. Coming up at 1 o'clock. Very self-explanatory.
45 minutes away.
Just the pinnacle of my creativity right there. That's NFL Notes at noon. If it rhymes or it's, crap. Come on, help me out here. You know what I'm
that's
going for.
okay.
You know what I'm going. Come on, Kevin.
I'm digging.
Kevin, come on. You start school tomorrow. We're not going to be able to work together as much.
No, we'll work every weekend.
Oh, yeah, post-game. That's
Except
right.
4 weekends when the Sixers are playing at the same time.
Is it 4 weekends?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have not been in Vito's office in a while. Feels like something I would have broke down with him. I looked at the Sixers schedule, jokingly doing the W's and L's for 82 games, and I didn't even piece together that they had so many conflicts with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a shame. All right, so back to the Phillies here. I want to quickly go.
We can hang out together at a bar and do a post-game show at that point.
We still have not done the trip to the Palladium, the two of us.
No.
So
we should.
I'm in. I've been now quite a few times. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Pizza's good.
Pizza's good. Decent sandwiches.
My friend, my old roommate moved down.
Don't have to worry about a crowd.
No. There was actually a crowd there when I was.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I was there when Charlie Banion was there a couple weeks ago. One of those one of the auction winners. Walked in. I was like, oh, look, Charlie Banion's here. You never know who you run into at the Palladium.
That's right. I used to run into a lot of NHL referees. Yeah. Kerry Frazier, I think, was there a lot.
Interesting. Well, there's your promo for Palladium.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Phillies here, and we've gotten into the Zack Wheeler news, and I'm going to tie these two things together right now. All right. So
Is this coward-esque?
No, this is not coward-esque. No. I'm sure I have a bad analogy coming at some point later in the hour. I want to go to the text line here, Begun, because you tell me we've got someone on the text line that after yesterday is upset with Alec Bohm.
Yes, no name on this one, but he says, did you see how Bohm acted when he got hit by that pitch yesterday? If not, you have to look it up. He went down in a heap and then he flopped around. He needs to start acting like a man instead of a grown man baby.
He got hit in the ribs.
I thought he got hit in the leg.
No, I thought it was in the.
I thought it was in the right in the kneecap.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm.
I think he got hit in the leg. I think he was upset because, hey, this guy's all over the place. He was justifiably upset.
Oh, yeah.
He was the second guy hit that inning.
He was the second guy hit that inning, and I think there was a 4-pitch walk that the guy was just throwing it and had no idea where it was going, and he just came off the injured list. We could be critical of Alec Bohm and the body language at times. Yesterday was not one of those times.
No.
He was justifiably upset. Now, how I tie this back to the Zack Wheeler injury, or health, I really hate calling it an injury.
Situation.
Situation. The blood clot, obviously on the injured list. There are a number of guys on this team, whether it be the obvious ones in the rotation and whether it be just anyone else in that 26-man that have more pressure on them as we move towards the postseason that we imagine you will not have Zack Wheeler. To you, who is under the most pressure without Zack Wheeler as a part of this Phillies team pushing towards the postseason?
Aaron Nola. Because I think honestly, I think this could define Aaron Nola's tenure in Philadelphia. And that sounds awful to say after a guy who's been here 11 years and had some decent postseason moments. If Nola goes out, second year of this big contract, and goes and craps the bed, yeah, I think that will be his lasting legacy more than anything he's done in the past, fairly or not.
I agree this is a legacy run for him, pretty much. The next 6 weeks are going to go a long way in determining his legacy in Philadelphia. And I think you are correct when you say that the most pressure is on him. As I start to work my way down the list, there are other guys in this rotation, like Sanchez having to step up from being the luxury of having a second Cy Young candidate on your team to the sole Cy Young candidate in rotation.
But he doesn't have the blue blood status that Nola does. That's why I put him a level below Nola in that.
Right, but
nobody's ever said Chris Sanchez is the franchise. Aaron Nola was the franchise.
So I understand what you're saying with that. I will say that I think in a world in which the Phillies lose game one and the ball is handed to Christopher Sanchez, we already are talking about the fact they lost game one. And it's not so much Sanchez lost you that series, it's you lost the Wheeler start. That's what happened to you. Now he is that start. Basically, he gives you the pendulum of how that series goes. So I think that's a lot of pressure for a guy, like you said, who has not been that guy before. So he came to mind. I just kind of have a group here. And I feel like it's the right-handed bats in this lineup. Bohm fits into that. But Bohm, JT, Turner, Castellanos. Like, pick your high price or high pedigree player from the right side, and you need the production. We talked about them needing to bash their way to do whatever they're going to do without Zack Wheeler. Bohm fits into this. Castellanos fits into this. Realmuto kind of does, even though I see Realmuto is here next year. Castellanos and Bohm kind of fit into the right-handed bats that you have to show what your pedigree or your price are, because if this does not go the right way, the chances are we're talking about potentially one of your jobs this offseason the way we were last year.
See, I don't know if there'll be a lot of pressure because I don't think there's a lot expected.
I feel like the pressure has to go up.
I think people are just chalking it up that they are what they are, and that's it. I will tell you, if you want to take an offensive player, it's going to be Bryce. People will say, okay, Bryce, carry us. This is your era, carry us. And whether that's fair or not, that's just the way it's going to be.
That's fair. I mean, the pressure, I feel like, is always on him, though.
Yeah, it could go up a little more.
I mean, we had people complain about him already in the YouTube chat today, so I'm not surprised at that. But in terms of what they need to do, like Harper, if you look at the playoff OPS, I think he's going to be there.
He's been great.
The other guys, I got questions.
But, again, there's rational and irrational. The irrational will say Bryce has to carry you. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where it is.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We can continue. I would love to hear from you at 610-632-0975. Who do you think is under the most pressure with this team as they try to navigate the world in which they do not have Zack Wheeler as the ace going towards the postseason? We got into this a little bit with Todd Zeleki, and I want to tease it out a little bit more coming up. If they need help in that rotation, or if they go to that six-man rotation, where are they going? Where do we see this team going from here? He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Take you through middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Birds make a trade. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles now have one preseason game left on the agenda before they turn their focus to the regular season. In the meantime, Howie Roseman continues to make moves. The Birds acquired wide receiver John Mechie III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant. The teams also exchanged late-round picks. The wide receiver room is now seemed to be jam-packed, but one spot we're still waiting for clarity on is the starting cornerback job opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. Vic Fangio spoke before practice today and answered if Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson, or Jacorian Bennett have inched their way closer in that battle.
Not really. I mean, they're close. Usually, it does become pretty obvious to everybody as to who's going to win the job. That hadn't happened yet.
Phillies had a wild weekend, which came to a wrap yesterday with the bats coming alive. A couple home runs from Alec Bohm and Nick Castellanos. And Aaron Nola, he struggled in his return. But the biggest story of the weekend came with the news of Zack Wheeler heading to the IL, 15-day IL with the blood clot in his right shoulder. There's no clarity on his absence right now. We'll keep you updated as that story progresses throughout the week. Phils begin a 3-game series tonight against the Seattle Mariners. Ranger Suarez is on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. This update was brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies with nationwide LTE coverage. For a limited time, get 60% off and free UPS shipping at code radio for an extra 5% off at rapidradios.com. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Weekday show alongside Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Brendan Gunn producing the show. We got Brendan Gunn the rest of the week. You back to school tomorrow.
Yes.
The Checo joins us
for PD days, by the way. Kids are not back in until next Monday.
Oh, you think a parent's going to be freaking out hearing me say that?
Yes. I
didn't
just
read. Where was the email? Where was the schedule? Where's the calendar?
The calendar's on the website.
But, I mean, that would be the question.
I got to go through training stuff and everything the next 4 days. But I'm back here a week from Friday.
Yes, I am not here that Friday.
Dee and I are here.
Yes, I am out that Friday.
And we're back here Friday night.
Friday, yes, you and I will be here Friday night. I got an assortment of Checo hours coming your way on the middays as well this week. I believe he's doing 2 hours with us Thursday, 3 hours with us leading up to Jets Eagles on Friday. So I'm going to be picking his brain on the
we're laughing about
75th guy on this roster.
We're laughing about like us having to do Friday night postgame. Imagine doing 3 hours here on Friday, then getting in your car, driving 2 hours to actually have to watch that mess on Friday night.
Don't feel bad for him. He loves that. He probably loves preseason games number 3.
I don't know if you heard him.
He was broken
after Saturday's game. He is a little bit more joyful this morning when I heard him. Saturday, that took a toll on him. Even him, he was like, that was a long game. That was a tough game.
Oh, man.
That would cause the Pope to consider if there's really a God. That game.
We got into the conversation with the Phillies about who's under the most pressure going forward following the Zack Wheeler news. I think the correct answer here is Aaron Nola, as you lined out, just because I think his legacy's on the line within the next 6 weeks with the way this goes.
Yeah.
They need him to be what they've paid him to be, and they need him to be what he was for them for so many years, and has not been since this season started. And the problems that he had yesterday are not just unique to yesterday. They are the problems that had him on the injured list prior to that.
Let me flip this around. Does this get Dave Dombrowski off the hook? If this falls apart this year, does this get Dave Dombrowski off the hook? Well, Wheeler got hurt.
Probably not. Probably not.
I don't know. I've been kind of wrestling with that in my head for like 48 hours.
I think you can guess my biggest takeaway that is this season specific.
Oh, the outfield.
Well, the outfield for sure, but not even Dombrowski specific, just this era, is they had it in front of them.
Oh, Arizona.
Yeah. I mean, that they had it handed to them on a platter. They had to beat an 84-win Diamondbacks team.
Then go beat the Rangers.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about, like, they got the Astros in 20.
Well, for this year, I think people will go, well, Wheeler, the Wheeler thing happened. And
yeah, and there's really no way from here to adjust to it, which brings us to the question of who could we see start games from here to the end of the season?
What?
Like, let's play a game this way. We'll do it based on, it's the 21st century.
Is this a game show?
Kind of. It's like gambling because, that's how we contextualize things in the 21st century. We'll do overs and unders.
All right.
Starts between now and the end of the season. Andrew Painter, over under, a half.
Over.
Joe Ross, at a half.
Under.
Ron Hell.
Under.
Let's tease out the Painter one a little bit more here then. Over, under, 3.5.
Try and play it in my head here. Barely over.
Barely over. So looking at 4. So 4 starts from Painter. This is after they end up going to a 6-man the rest of the way.
Yeah. This week you don't need the 6-man because you got Thursday off. But then next week you're going to.
So I'm trying to look at when would make the most sense to slot him in. Because you look at
Friday night against the Nationals.
Oh, so you would want him to just start that stretch?
Yeah, because I don't know if you're going to bring him up, don't have him waste more AAA innings in AAA.
Fair enough. That's probably the right call on that one. I'm trying to think of roster construction.
By the way, it also would keep him. He's basically been on a 6-man schedule. One thing we all forget about last week, faced the same opponent twice, and I think there is something to be said that maybe the monotony of AAA baseball with the way the schedule's laid out now caught up to him.
Maybe
Boredom.
hard for me to give.
That's what they're going to say.
Yeah, I'm going to say hard for me to give him the boredom pass when the ERA is what it is.
I
Like
know,
it's not just that start that's elevated his
But
ERA.
I will tell you that will probably be the way they spend.
I'm sure. And just like the turf is hard down in
Exactly.
life. Like, what do their actions tell you? Like, what are they actually doing here? To me, you say Friday. So if you get him Friday, he'll end up pitching against the Mets in New York
On Wednesday.
on Wednesday.
Well, no.
Well, I guess they would go 6, so no, they're pushing everyone back. So he would not. He would end up going against the Braves at home Thursday night on MLB Network.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting. Because what you have lining up in front of you is 3 against the Mariners to start this week,
Off day Thursday.
3 against Washington, and then you go up to New York. Which, right now, you still have the 5-game advantage. You still have 3 against the Nationals in there. So you still feel good about the fact that you're going to be up an insurmountable amount in one series by the time you see the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets have the 3 at Washington this week. The Mets with their starting rotation right now, and they're off tonight. The Mets with their starting rotation right now are just so weird that I don't know where I can necessarily put them. Like at 5, are they still dangerous or not? I don't know if I have a good feeling on that.
I'm going to still be irrationally scared.
Like, what do you think's more likely? The Mets win this division, or the Mets falling out of the playoffs and losing to the Reds for the 3rd wild card?
More likely they fall out of the playoff.
Yeah.
So right now, their playoff percentage, this is just according to ESPN, 86%. So I would be wrong according to the metrics right now. But I do feel like it'd be more likely they fall out. Maybe that's a credit also to what the Reds have. So the Reds have more of the pitching that the Mets do not. So that would be the credit given there. It's going to be interesting the rest of the way. I know we got someone chiming in on the text line at 610-632-0975 on the question, which Philly is under the most pressure following the Zack Wheeler news. What do we got, Begun?
We got Mike. Most pressure is on the lineup. They've had a healthy Wheeler, and it didn't mean squat to them the past 2 years. They're 2-7 in their last 9 playoff games. It's on the lineup. It's not on the pitching. Pressure is on Bohm and Castellanos, who have been consistent playoff failures.
I'd like to
Castellanos was their 2nd best player last year in the playoffs. But
yes,
okay,
he was. I would like to ask the two of you, if you could guess, what is the average amount of run support that Zack Wheeler's been given in postseason games, postseason starts by the Phillies?
3-1.
They got a 1 last year in that game. And then he started game on the NLCS before, right? And they put up a 10-piece.
No, that was game 2 where they put the 10-piece. Up.
They put up I would say 3.5.
Closest not going over would be Kevin Cooney. It was a 3.38 runs per game for Zack Wheeler. So the texter, not wrong. There is a considerable amount of pressure on this lineup to produce what they haven't before in the postseason, especially in these Zack Wheeler starts. He's gotten you, again, the 4-0 in NLCS game started by Zack Wheeler, which, in fact, you don't have 2 pennants, is going to haunt me for a very long time. And he set the table for you in those wild card series, regardless of what you did. I mean, we all saw it. One of those games where they technically gave support was that Cardinals game. And that Cardinals game, they did not get that support until the 9th inning when they really needed it. So there is a lot of pressure on that lineup. I think Nola ends up being for what they need the rotation right now. But one of these right-handed bats, because Turner's not exactly lights out postseason guy for you since he's gotten here.
You holding your breath on that?
Well, I'm not holding my breath on a lot of things. You heard the opener of the show. This season, to me, I have to squint really, to steal a phrase from Daryl Morey, I have to squint really hard to see the championship odds.
You know, it's real bad when you're quoting Morey.
It is. But I knew that's why squint was on my mind. That was what he said. Trade deadline time. That's what I recall.
Hey, Daryl, how about a Joel update?
All right. We're going to update you on who the Inquirer thinks is making the 53. How many jobs still to be won this week, Kevin?
Oh, I love this time of year.
I love it. Let's see who's got a job, who doesn't. We'll figure it out. We'll break it down for you. Coming up, he's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Midday Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds Insider Update on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
One more preseason game to go. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Birds Insider Update. 2 preseason games are now done and 1 to go this coming Friday as we inch closer to week 1 against the Cowboys September 4th. There's still a lot to figure out on the defensive side of the football. One spot we're all watching for is who's going to start week 1 opposite of Zach Bond at linebacker, with Nakobe Dean starting the season on the physically unable to perform list. Vic Fangio spoke this morning and said whoever ends up starting there, he's at an advantage because, well, he's playing next to Bond.
It's how they play. Obviously, I think if they're playing next to Zach, it might make it easier for them. Some players, especially when you're a young player at ILB, safety, the same thing. If there's a veteran that can run the show and help you out a little bit, that helps.
Another spot we're all keeping our eyes on as we inch closer to the regular season is the starting cornerback job opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. Fangio spoke about that this morning as well and said Jacorian Bennett still needs to be given his fair chance.
It's how they play. Obviously, I think if they're playing next to Zach, it might. I think all the guys are pretty even right now. And Ja'Cory just got here, got a full week last week. Need to give him a full opportunity with the other guys.
The Eagles traded for wide receiver John Mechie III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant. The 2 teams also exchanged late-round picks. Eagles get a 6th, Texans get a 5th. I'm Brendan Gunn. You're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Just saw Ricky Bo.
Yes. Well, I need Silvano to come in here, too. By the way, ever since Colarulo came in here and talked about how warm it is,
yeah,
it's felt like roasting in here.
Yeah, it's getting hot in here.
Has there been a more fitting time for this drop?
Who the hell is Ray Dunn?
Ray Dooney.
12 o'clock hours brought to you by Service First HVAC, offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when purchasing a heating and cooling system. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com.
I'm going to miss this, Gunner.
Say anything.
You're not?
Nope.
No?
Nope. We're going to continue on here on the program.
You've made your mark around here. Everybody knows your name. Cheers.
Some of the people you don't know the name of, so the people that are going to get cut by the Eagles this week. We're going to 53-man roster.
Nice segue.
Thank you. Keeping it all together.
That's right.
Keeping it all together over here, Kevin. Good to see Ricky Bo in the break there. All right, so we did the 53-man projection last week, and we also, you and I on the postgame on Saturday, tried to figure out how many jobs were actually up for grabs this week.
And I think we said 7.
We said somewhere around that. Like, there's probably 8 offensive linemen at this point they feel good about. We could only name 6, and one of the 6 or 7 at this point. I think one of the 6 that we named, the Inquirer has getting cut down on this one. So just to roll through, quarterbacks 3, Hurts, McKee, McCord. Probably.
Yeah, unless they bring somebody else in.
Right. If they think they could just put McCord in the practice squad and end up with someone else. Which I can't imagine there would be a massive market for him.
No, probably not.
Swept up unless we see something incredible at MetLife. Running backs, Barkley, Shipley, Dillon, and then Van Sumeren as fullback. Feels likely?
Likely.
All right, so we've already given away six spots because we're not going to pencil in McCord yet. We'll pencil him in. We won't write him pen, so we're not giving him the job just quite yet. So 6 spots. Receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, Johnny Wilson, Anaya Smith, and John Mechie. I think we could say 5 of those guys, I think, are on the team.
Yep.
I can't guarantee Smith, but that brings
numbers
us up
are possible. Yeah.
And Mechie throws just a whole wrench in that entire. Like, Cooks was a camp darling. Cooper was the first game of the preseason darling. Terrace Marshall, I was interested to see just because of what he was at LSU, and like he's former second-round pick.
A lot of practice squad guys.
Yes, they love the It is funny. Sirianni was saying how much they love the competition at the depth at wide receiver, and then they make that deal for a wide receiver. Hell yeah! That's how encouraged I felt when they go make a deal for a receiver.
Yeah.
But maybe they are going to go spin that around and try and make a deal. We don't have to worry about Harrison Bryant as the third tight end.
No, they're they're going to go 2 tight ends.
You think Kylan Grantson's not going to get that third job? All right, maybe we won't guarantee it.
Practice squad.
We won't guarantee it. So we're still at 13 jobs here given away. The linemen, we're going to say that 8 are settled. They'll know the 3 backups better than we'll know the 3 backups. I'm not going to try and I'll have to check it later in the week for who he thinks is guaranteed on that side. Defensive linemen, Carter, Davis, Hall, Ajomo, Robinson. Feels like the 5.
5, yeah.
So 26. Edge rushers, Hunt, Smith, Ojolari, and they have Uche and Patrick Johnson both on the roster. I don't think either of them are guaranteed. You think Uche's guaranteed a job at this point?
I think it's pretty close.
All right, so we'll say they have 4 because I'm not going to.
You're not saying Patrick Johnson.
I'm not saying Patrick Johnson. If it was up to me, he's on the team. Big Patrick Johnson guy for the last 2 weeks. It's a lot of preseason football we've broken down. Zach Baughan, Jahad Campbell.
Yeah, you have to go see Mike the Switch.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Smile Mondon as the 4 inside linebackers.
I don't think Smile Mondon's guaranteed.
All right, so just 3 there. So we'll go 33. Mitchell, DeJean, Jackson, Ringo, Bennett. 5 guaranteed corners?
Yeah.
McWilliams seems pretty close to a guarantee, but we won't give him the guarantee of a roster spot. Blankenship, Brown, McCollum, Makuba.
Yeah, and that's probably
guaranteed. And
I don't see Justin Simmons unless they bring Justin Simmons in, which is not likely at this point.
We have 8 jobs open for this final preseason game.
You also forgot special teamers.
Yeah, I just added that.
Oh, okay.
3.
All right.
Silently behind the scenes.
Yeah.
8 jobs open, and the competitions that are still open: second corner and inside linebacker next to Zach Baughan in Nakobe Dean's absence.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that's real open.
I'm ready to call it. If I'm up at the board, I'm saying it's Campbell.
It's Campbell.
I'm saying, obviously, Steen, we all know, has won the right guard job. I guess maybe a job to be won is left guard if there's no Dickerson. So maybe that's something up for grabs this week. But on the defensive side of things, Makuba and Brown are still technically competing.
But
I'd be ready to call it for Makuba.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm ready to call it for Campbell. So the two rookies end up with starting jobs. And that second cornerback spot still apparently has three people fighting for it. Though today, Ringo with the twos.
That kind of tells you something.
I think that certainly tells you something. DeCecco tweeting out actually right now that Dory Jackson spent a lot of time open with the ones with Quinyon Mitchell, and he didn't see Ringo take any first-team reps today.
Yep,
so Ringo
that's
is a depth
over.
piece. Yeah.
And if Dory Jackson doesn't play on Friday night, you know it.
Well, I think they're going to have to play him Friday night. Him and Jacorian Bennett. You're not going to. You think Ben's just not going to get a chance?
I think they'll play Bennett and Ringo, but I think Bennett will be limited, and I don't think Jackson will play at all. You've seen the Dory Jackson. Like,
yeah,
is there anything else? No, it's not getting any better.
That's fair. Might not get any better than that. God, I'm not going to feel good opening night against Pickens. I'm really not. This offense is going to have to carry them in that first week of the
season. It's a
season.
trend line today. Lineup's going to have to carry him. Offense is going to have to carry him.
This weekend was one of the more brutal sports weekends.
And you didn't even go to Nats Park.
No. I thought about it. I thought about going down. I was going to go down Friday night if I went.
You and Connor.
He went. Trust me. He was there.
I know.
I got a text.
I was texting him.
I got a text immediately.
Can we bring up Friday night actually on the other side?
Yeah, sure. We'll bring up. You got the Fangio audio?
Yeah.
All right. Vic Fangio had a Phillies take. See? Working the birds in, regardless of what's going on. He's Kevin Goody. I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Howie being Howie. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles now have one preseason game left on the agenda before they turn their focus to the regular season. In the meantime, Howie Roseman continues to make moves. The Birds acquired wide receiver John Mechie III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant. The teams also exchanged late-round picks. Eagles get a 6th, Texans get a 5th. The wide receiver room now seems to be jam-packed, but one spot we're still awaiting for more clarity on is the cornerback job outside of Quinyon Mitchell. Vic Fangio spoke prior to practice today and answered if Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson, or Jacorian Bennett have inched their way ahead in that battle.
Not really. I mean, they're close. Usually, it does become pretty obvious to everybody as to who's going to win the job. That hadn't happened yet.
The Phillies had a wild weekend, which came to a wrap yesterday with the bats coming alive. Nick Castellanos, Alec Bohm having bombs. Aaron Nola struggled in his return, though. But the biggest story of the weekend with the Phillies came with Zack Wheeler heading to the 15-day IL with a blood clot in his right shoulder. As of now, there's no set timetable for his return, but we'll keep you updated on that as that story develops. The Phillies begin a 3-game series against the Seattle Mariners tonight. Ranger Suarez is on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. This update was brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies with nationwide LTE coverage. For a limited time, get 60% off, and for UPS shipping at rapidradios.com. Use code RADIO for an extra 5% off. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
4. And after last night, all the naysayers found out why they brought in Duran the night he got hit on the leg.
I love Vic Fangio, not just for the ball knowledge that he just dropped right there, but also just for the fact that this guy is one of the best defensive coordinators like we've ever seen. Like he's one of the most influential. I'll put it that way. One of the most influential defensive coordinators we've ever seen, and he's just as much a Philly sicko as anyone else out there in the Delaware Valley.
It's awesome.
It is really cool.
And he's right. That's why Duran was in the other night.
Yeah. That's why Duran was in. That, to me, when it happens,
wasn't a question.
With the 3-batter minimum, you've seen it across baseball where this is just kind of the way teams want to operate and the way a lot of teams will operate, because if we bring in some guy that allows 2 runners on, the best you are at that point is getting your closer out there in a stressful situation when they could just come in and shut the door in 1, 2, 3.
You and I sat here on Saturday, and we thought that would be the major talking point coming into today, was the idea of the whole how they used Duran thing.
Right.
And they got lucky and all that. But obviously the Wheeler thing took precedent, and rightly so. But, I mean, to me, there was no doubt. Like, he hadn't pitched in 5 days. He if through the 3-hitter rule, at very least, if a couple guys get on, he's coming in that game anyway. So, why not just bring him in to begin with?
Right, and it becomes, if they allow a couple runs there, like, well, why didn't you just bother putting him in?
The nitpicking of Rob Thompson in this city is so disgusting. It really is. It's just over the top. Every manager has flaws. He has flaws. I'll give him. Name a perfect manager in this sport right now. You can't.
There was more for you to be upset about with him from Thursday, from, what was it? I want to go back to that Reds game. Was it Tuesday? Luzardo. There's been things to be upset about. That was not one for me.
No.
I saw that happen, and I was like, what horrible luck.
But again, you can pick every manager in the sport.
Right.
And look at a sample size like that and see that happening.
That, to me, was not one of the times to be upset with Rob Thompson.
And I'm
not upset with luck.
I'm not saying, like, Rob Thompson's the greatest manager ever. No. But, I mean, you also got to understand that the sport now is different, where managers don't make the final call in a lot of ways. They have to answer up above to analytics.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of guys across the sport do. But with that decision specifically, it made sense to have him in the game.
Yeah.
Like, that was just part of your role as a closer at this point.
Maybe these are all signs that it's just not your year.
Which is just the way I feel at this point. Like,
it's all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah. What a Monday. What do they have in store Tuesday?
It's almost like it's raining outside, summer's over, and so is baseball season, according to Ray.
I'm trying to find the way that I'm trying to find the path here, and I just can't find the path. And that's the sad reality of it for me, following this weekend. You get the Wheeler news, and, like, you've, one, concerned about Wheeler, and then 2, start to look at everything for this team, and it's like, I just can't find the path forward with them to make it work this year. And that's a terrible thing to say, but it's the way I feel. And I'd be lying to you if I said any different. You're tuned in WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Brendan Gunn, after much thought this weekend, I nearly this morning, while I was putting together the show sheet, was like, you know what? We could probably scrap it. We got enough conversation. But it's a new week, and maybe the
You're
dawn
giving him another chance
of another opportunity for the Gun at 1. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, so it's hard to think of anything on the bright side when you talk about Zack Wheeler and the Phillies, and you think back to this the point you brought up earlier this morning. The party usually ends a little bit before you actually get out of there, and it kind of feels like maybe not only for this season, maybe for this whole core right now, this could be This could be the Ryan Howard Achilles in 2011. You just don't know what's going to happen with Zack Wheeler going forward. On the flip side, the Eagles are beginning, and this is usually I come in here with an opinion. I don't know if I have a strong opinion, but it was a thought that came into my mind. We're in the midst of maybe The most disappointing era in Phillies baseball from a they couldn't get over the hump standpoint, not sucking standpoint for 10 years. Like, I'm going to come up really disappointed if they never win at all. At the flip side, does it make you feel a little bit better that you are probably in the golden era of Eagles football? Does that lighten the blow for you? Does that lighten the blow for some fans that on one side, this is the best we're ever going to see one of our teams probably, maybe in our lifetime. On the other side, it's they could never get it done.
Yeah, it doesn't really lighten the blow for me at all. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm excited for Eagles football. And I understand sometimes, like, the really good team in town kind of carries the weight for everyone else. Like, if we always do, if we didn't have the Eagles Super Bowl, like, what would we have been talking about last winter? Like, would we have been more on what was going on with the Sixers? Would we have been more upset? Like, I think, specifically, we did not touch a ton on the whole Max Kepler thing, aside from, like, they signed him. This is how they're planning to address it. It might be dumb, but, like, we probably would have had more of, like, the Watergate investigation of, like, the offseason for the Phillies would have been more into the Sixers. So I guess from that perspective, maybe it'll make me feel a little bit better that, like, when we're sitting here talking in October, we're probably talking about a football team that we have aspirations for. But I'll be honest with you, man. I can't get myself to, like, Eagles, Jets, Friday night. That makes me feel a lot better about the fact that
that's
Wheeler's
tough.
not
But
here.
once like October comes around, maybe the Eagles get off to a hot start against the tough 4 games, and you're like, okay, the Phillies at that point are in the rearview mirror for me. Now I'm not going to go there because I love both teams equally. I want to know if there's people out there that think that way. Like, hell, Eagles are here. Phillies gave it a good run. I probably didn't believe in them all the way to begin with, and now their best pitcher's here. Nah, I'm turning the page.
I could see the guy sitting on his couch saying, yeah, they got me to football season.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the way we used to laugh that, after a trade deadline,
right?
Some of those years. I want to push back on one thing. You're saying this is the most disappointing era of Phillies baseball if it doesn't end in a ring?
In my lifetime, yes. Like, I would say them stinking, I could, put them on and not care. Like, disappointing, you have to have some kind of investment in it, in my eyes.
They've been competitive every year pretty much under Harper.
Yeah, you can't just write that off. Like,
right.
But in order to be disappointed,
sport that's tough to win a World Series. It is. It's really tough. Like, there's a reason why there's been so many different champions over the course of the last decade plus.
Like, in order to be disappointed, you have to be at the dance, right? Like, you can't be disappointed you didn't get a date to prom if you didn't ask anybody. You can only be disappointed if they say no.
Like, are you still disappointed over 22?
I'm still disappointed over 23.
23, I get. 23 is
22,
fine.
I'm not disappointed.
22, they lost to the better team.
Right. 23, I'll be disappointed. And I think that'll
And I'll make the argument last year they kind of lost to the better team in the way that they were playing at the end.
The Mets were playing better baseball. I hesitate to say that, like, if we just put the teams down on paper,
it was a push.
People would have taken the Mets.
It was a push.
Like, if you end up out of here with 2 championships from these 2 teams, and it just happens it's the Eagles and the Phillies never get one in the next, from 2022 until 2028 or whatnot, will you look back on that and say, I'm satisfied with those 2 championships, or are you going to still say, it should have been 3 with the Phils?
If I'm still going to be disappointed about 2023, yeah. I'll probably still be saying that. Like, I understand what he's saying from the idea that he's disappointed, but I think it lends more to the number of, like, golden ages you've had with the Phillies,
right?
Like, where you've only had
it's 142 years and they've had 2 rings,
right? And both those rings came in real strong runs. There wasn't one like what looks like the Rangers have found, where it was like we got one and it just happened to, like, you didn't win in '93, where it was just like a one-off, like you just.
Or the Giants weren't a one-off because they won 3 out of 5 years, but they were never dominant, and it felt like they just got hot in October. And that's maybe that's the way you have to. If you're a Phillies fan, maybe that's what you're holding on to. That's something like what happened when San Francisco happens, where you just kind of got going in a 4-week span. I mean, that's the only hope you really have at this point without Wheeler.
Yeah, they had Bumgarner.
Is there a shot you come back on board, Ray? Like, give it a couple of weeks?
Yeah, you could.
In the exact moment. Like, you're not going to just write off the season.
They go 5-2 against the Mets.
Like,
you're back.
Like Andrew and John this morning were ready to say it was pretty much done. Like, if they go on a little bit of a hot streak, like we've been saying for months, like, or years at this point, this team will live and die with what the bats do. If the bats get hot for a month, like,
So
Could they do it?
But to come back on board, what does the 5-2 against the Mets look like? Like if the Mets implode and they go 5-2.
They're 5-2.
But okay, wait. You asked me if it was more likely the Mets win the division or miss the playoffs. If they go 5-2 against a team that has had the wheels fall all the way off, is that going to be more I'm back on board, or is it the Mets have fallen?
If they somehow got a 2 seed, and I think that's one thing that's not going to happen now. They're going to probably end up in the wild card round either way. Okay,
Right.
They may be the third division champion, but they're probably not going to be able to keep up with the Dodgers at this point.
Well, how about the Dodgers just flipping on the switch? Being
Yeah.
like, screw you, San Diego.
You know, it was the Padres' damn song thing. Again.
That song, by the way, just an editorial note. That's older than the one that we mock.
Yeah,
That's an aged song. That's not new this weekend. I think it just got
stole it
brought
from
back up.
Colarulo too. I mean, come on.
But the question would be, did Sirianni Love come from Slam Diego?
Controversy.
'Cause that's an older song.
That's what's in.
But
let's go, Goose.
all right, then let's tease that out coming up here. What would get me back in? Like what I'd have to see to be back in on this team. Like get back in their chances to win a World Series. Obviously, I'm invested in what they're doing the rest of the way. I'm not like it's not like tonight the game comes on and I'm like, actually, I'm no longer a baseball guy. I'm done. I'm not.
You're watching
flipping
more
the page for
preseason football.
I'm breaking
tonight?
down the all 22.
You're breaking down Commanders and Bengals tonight or something.
What would it have to be to get me back? He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. You're tuned into Middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Bo, Bill
gun at one today. Very productive because it's now brought us into this conversation.
Today's not the day to get under people's skin after that weekend.
Yeah, we've had it enough. I'm sure.
Any weekend at Nationals Park could get under your skin.
Yeah. I
hate that place.
The ballpark itself, forgettable. The area surrounding the ballpark, I have to, a little. And maybe it's because I can find a good time pretty much wherever I go. And
you're a good time waiting.
Maybe that's just it. Maybe this is more self-reflection I need right now, that I need to realize maybe you just like to have a good time and it's not necessarily the places you go. But the area around it isn't bad.
No.
I've grown to like the neighborhood.
Why. I think you deep down know
I know
why.
why. Yeah, absolutely.
I think all of us connected with the Phillies beat or the travel. One, the press facilities are awful for us.
See, I haven't had to deal with that down there.
Yeah, we're on the roof.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay. Two, for those of us who were there, Harry.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
I mean, I hate saying it that way, but that's...
But that's what you associate with that place.
Yeah.
That's the memory you associate with that place.
Yeah.
That's not a positive one. So I understand why. To you, that's the way you look at that place. You just...
I came down late that day. I got called down. I wasn't even in Washington originally when it happened, and then I ended up there in the third inning. Because of everything that happened.
Yeah. Nats Park, to me, just going through my own personal list here, does come in last. So, of the ones I've been to.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, I have definitely...
You've also been to the coolest stadiums there are, like PNC Park.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of the good
Petco,
ones. Petco, PNC.
Fenway.
Wrigley. I like Fenway.
Great American's not great.
I think I'm going to be there soon.
Great American's not great. Busch is not great. Well, no, whatever they call Comiskey these days was awful. RFK was worse. RFK, literally, we could not watch the game because they used to have the ledge right in your face.
It's one of the issues I have with Fenway. Some of the seating, the way it has you, I feel like I'm
you're breaking your neck trying to watch the game.
As a fat guy, I hated RFK I'm not RFK. I hate Fenway because of the fact it's so tight.
You're so tight there.
Yeah, it was not built for this generation.
It wasn't. None of it was
not built for the fast food generation.
If you asked the person that built Fenway how long they thought Fenway was going to last, no shot they believe it's still there.
Probably the 50s.
Yeah, they really? They're still playing there? There's no shot.
I mean, it's gorgeous, and I love the history of it.
I do, but I think it does kind of drop it up. The actual amenity of it.
I actually leave it to Rob Manfred. It's going to be knocked down in 2 years.
Yeah, it's true. Manfred, how many people could we get in there? No, they got to go.
Gotta go.
Wrigley, I have higher than Fenway.
I would agree. I will say Fenway's easier to work in than Wrigley because the press box is better for us.
I do like the Fenway. I've been up to the Fenway.
Fenway press box is cool.
Wrigley, I did not have to.
Well, there's no elevators to the Wrigley press box.
Is there an elevator to save Ray on this Phillies season?
610.
Wow. All right. Well, good segue there. Great producing work by you, Brendan Gunn. He's like, all right, they've gotten too far off the rails. Look at these guys. Ray's got his ballpark list out. That must mean it's over. All right. So let's work through this. You mentioned 5-2.
Yeah.
Against the Mets. Mm-hmm. It would help, but right now, do you think the Mets are their biggest problem in the National League? Again, we're talking World Series championship. I'm not necessarily.
Well, no,
getting to the World Series, getting through the National League. That's where the bar to me. I want them to get to the World Series. That's what
the biggest problem for them is the Dodgers look like this weekend they found themselves.
Do you believe that teams can do that?
Yeah, I do.
I think that team specifically can.
I saw it in 2009. I saw a team that basically for half a year in 2009 just kind of
hung around
sleptwalk.
Yeah.
And then about mid-July, early August, they fire the hitting coach and everything takes off. I think the Dodgers were bored.
Yeah.
And I think when they had an opponent kind of stand up in their face, they knocked them in the mouth.
Reminded everyone.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you're going to end up playing an extra series and then it'll not set up your rotation to go up against the Dodgers if it's a 2-3 matchup in the LCS or in the LDS, yeah, it's not. It's not
If let's say you take 2 in the wild card series with whoever you get,
right?
And you don't even have to use a third starter. We're wondering who 2 in the wild card series is right now. Lord knows who 1 in the divisional series would be.
Probably Nola.
Because 2 ended up being
Suarez.
What, Walker getting this? Or I guess
Walker.
Sanchez has enough. Walker
Sanchez would probably come back on
for the game 2.
Yeah.
So you get 2 Sanchez starts in there, and then I guess Walker for.
Well, remember again, you have the off day in between, so I would assume Sanchez would go game 2.
Right, and then Nola 1, Sanchez 2.
Right, because it would be Tuesday. If you look at the
Suarez
schedule,
3,
it would be Tuesday and Monday.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I guess you could patchwork. Like, and I hate to use the word patchwork, but with the guys they have. But right now, it feels that way, and I think that's part of what it is for me. We had the conversation last week. Do you think this offense can get sustained 6 weeks of being hot? Because I haven't seen. One of the big problems I've had this season is you had the one really torrid stretch in June where I think you won 9 in a row.
Right.
And with all due respect to who they were playing with the A's, the Rockies, the Pirates, like you took care of slop in front of you.
They didn't play well against the Pirates.
The second time.
Yes.
You took care of the slop in front of you that time around. I haven't seen them sustain that consistently. Like I was hoping post sweeping the Rangers, we were going to get to see them like put together a 5-6 game winning streak where you think that they could start doing that. And you don't have to be perfect in the postseason. But
yep. All you have to do
those short series, you kind of do.
You have to go 11 or 13 wins, depending on where you finish.
But those short series don't always play to the better team.
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
Team on paper. That's what, like, sustaining that over time. It's not so much I don't think they could beat some of these teams in a 7-game series, even though now with the pitching, I get worried about that. It's that can you do it?
You've lost your biggest edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that mean you can't piece it together? No. But it certainly makes it more unlikely.
So what could bring me back?
I don't know. That's a you question.
Maybe that Brewers series, you go out to, maybe that's it. You go out to Milwaukee?
Probably some alcohol.
Out in Milwaukee? Are we sending me out to Milwaukee?
You'll talk yourself into it. By the time they get to September 30th, you'll talk yourself into it.
That Wheeler, man, I got a really tough time talking myself.
You will.
I already had them as an NLCS team. Like, that was the furthest I thought they were getting before the Wheeler thing.
You'll talk yourself into it.
I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right.
I will be pragmatic and go, yeah, probably not. I'm just there.
That's where I feel like I've been there with the, I don't think they're going to do it before the Wheeler.
I'm more of a roll the dice, see what happens.
Yeah, well, of course, we're going to roll the dice in this one. But coming up, I'm curious. Obviously, this happens post-trade deadline. Just a thought exercise of how they would have reacted had this happened a month ago. And what they would have done or could have done differently. They're in a tough scenario now. You can't do anything about it, but I'd love to think we looked at the internal options. Would there have been anything else considered? He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. That's coming up next middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles make a trade. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles now have one preseason game left on the agenda before they turn their focus to the regular season. In the meantime, Howie Roseman continues to make some moves. The Birds acquired wide receiver John Mechie III from the Houston Texans in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant. The teams also exchanged to late-round picks in this upcoming draft. The wide receiver room now seems to be jam-packed, but one spot we're still waiting for more clarity on is the starting job outside of Quinyon Mitchell at cornerback. Vic Fangio spoke prior to practice today and answered if Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson, or Jacorian Bennett have inched their way ahead in that battle.
Not really. I mean, they're close. Usually, it does become pretty obvious to everybody as to who's going to win the job. That hadn't happened yet.
The Phillies had a wild weekend, which came to a wrap yesterday with the bats coming alive, and Aaron Nola struggling in his return. But the biggest story of the weekend for the Phils was Zack Wheeler heading to the 15-day IL with the blood clot in his right shoulder. We'll continue to keep you updated on that story as it progresses. There's no timetable right now for his return quite yet. The Phils begin a 3-game series against the Mariners tonight. Ranger Suarez is on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. This update was brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies with nationwide LTE coverage. For a limited time, time, get 60% off and free UPS shipping at rapidradios.com. Use code radio for an extra 5% off. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
News of the basketball world.
Ooh.
Marco Bellinelli retired.
Wow.
He has not been in the NBA since 2019-20 season.
I was just going to say.
He's been playing back at home for the last half decade. But Bellinelli calling it a career, age of 39.
People always like to talk about that Durant shoe size being too big and what the Nets would have done. People forget Marco Bellinelli was the originator of having shoes too big.
Yep.
And the confetti. And
Yeah, the confetti was
Confetti!
Confetti was bad. I remember, I think I was grad party for that. And I was like, oh, nope. All right. Well, to be fair, though.
That summed up the Adam Aaron era in a heartbeat right there. half a step too far back.
To be fair to the Durant thing, the world is different if Durant, his foot's not on the line.
Brooklyn is.
The world.
Does Harden never come here? Like,
Giannis doesn't have a ring, and the world is so incredibly different. We were that close. We were that close to Giannis not having a ring.
it is like the butterfly effect. If Durant doesn't have size 11 instead of size 10, Embiid never gets fouled on by Jonathan Kuminga, and we go on and win a championship. That's what started it all.
It really has nothing to do with the Sixers thing. It just has to do with the Bucks not winning. The Bucks don't have a title, and Giannis is just a guy that's been hurt over the last couple of postseasons. That's where that goes. A couple MVPs that they never got over the hump. That's the one thing where that goes. Also, Dame is probably enjoying Miami right about now.
You don't know basketball.
What, you don't think Giannis? You think Giannis wins in one of these years where he wasn't hurt?
I don't know. It's just a good excuse to play a Doc Rivers clip.
Oh, okay. You would go on Doc Rivers. I forgot Doc is still the coach. God. Milwaukee.
All the changes they've made, and Doc is still there. How the hell did that happen?
Is that supposed to lure Giannis back? They're like, you know what?
Hey, we got Doc.
One thing that we know about star players, they love playing for Doc. Let's keep him.
It's a dumbass question.
You think we get to the level where we have Nick Nurse drops at this point come this year?
No, because there's never a drop that there's never a soundbite from.
Well, that's what I mean. He gets so fed up that at this point, well, like he'll start to turn.
Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game. I love Nick. Nick's a good dude.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I
feel bad for him.
I wanted to tease out this idea because there's obviously the way of addressing it right now for the Phillies is pretty much, hey, what they got internally here, that's what you're going to do in terms of starting rotation. If this had happened in July, how different does this look?
None. Like, what? They're not going to keep Mick Abel and they're going to let their bullpen, or they're going to keep Mick Abel and they'll let their bullpen rot the hell?
No. I mean, I'd imagine they view something in terms of the start rotation differently. Like, is Abel, is it...
would they have traded then Miller or...
Yeah, it would be tight and maybe
I don't think
Miller?
they would have traded Painter. I think they may have traded Crawford or Miller.
Right.
But who was the biggest starter that went? Starter was a wasteland at this deadline.
Well, yeah, there's two worlds where they don't trade Abel because they see that Abel now has to be here to start, and there's maybe that walks them down a different line bullpen-wise.
Who was I'm blanking. Who was the best starter that got traded at the deadline?
The trade deadline best starter.
Merrill Kelly?
Maybe Merrill Kelly? Maybe you go make a run at Zach Gallen? Maybe?
Right. I'm not saying that there was like, Charlie Morton really going to change your... No.
Yeah, there's another one. No.
I'm just curious because it happens in a year we threw the phrase around for months of all in. And it goes kind of to the whole party idea of like how close is this to like the end of this? How much more urgency do you think, and you mentioned it earlier about Dave Dombrowski, like, is this what ultimately people say, yeah, Dave Dombrowski, he gave us his best shot, and it just didn't work out for them?
Like, what they did at the deadline, look, they got Duran. It's not like Duran's a rental. So you got Duran for 3 more years, or 2 more years beyond this. Okay. So that will, I think that's what will make it easier for the Phillies to kind of go, all right, we kind of had bad luck go against us. If we get Wheeler back next year, we still have Nola, have Luzardo for another year, got Sanchez long term, Painter will come up. and they'll shrug and they'll re-sign Schwarber and Real Muto. It'll be the same team pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much.
If you look at
right field is going to change.
Right field is going to change, and I think they changed something in the infield.
Second
or third.
I don't know if they'll get rid of third.
You think they're going to give him a contract though?
No.
So
they'll let him play the contract year out.
Yes. I mean, if they feel like,
and I'll admit, I think that's dangerous because I don't know how Alec Boehm on a contract here is going to handle it, given his
right. That's fair.
His mindset.
Does it change how you handle Jose Alvarado at all?
Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Well, if you're trying to double down, bringing everybody back.
But I'm not bringing him back at $9 million when I didn't have him for. He needs to kind of do a make good salary on that because of the suspension.
Well, he didn't get paid.
No, but you still you screwed up everything for this team.
Okay. So
I'm not paying him $9 million.
Now, when you look back to this season, that looked like it was going to be a big reason why they couldn't get over the hump. Now with the Zack Wheeler thing, it's like, all right, Jose Alvarado couldn't make it to the postseason, and he would have been useless there anyway because we don't have our ace. Like you kind of get to write that off in the background now. To begin the season when he first went, it was like, all right, this is a huge reason why they might lose. Now it's not so much.
I think I would probably feel a little bit better about this team's chances if I had Alvarado in the bullpen come postseason.
And I agree with you on that. But Brendan, here's my argument: the idea of I can't trust him with the idea of a second potential suspension looming, which would cost him a whole year. I can't pay him $9 million. I can't because it still does count against your cap.
But where do
your luxury tax?
Where do you get that level of left-hander for your bullpen?
What they would try to do is they won't pick up the option, and they'll try to bump the salary down. He has no leverage on this right now.
He doesn't have leverage until someone wants to pay him $1 million more than the Phillies want.
Nobody's going to be busting down the door for him. I'm telling you.
I'm saying if you want to pay him $4 million. There's not someone that'll pay $5 million to take the roll the dice?
No. Not when he's had half a year. No.
Not one team in baseball is going to take the risk for a guy that throws high 90.
No, because of the fact that if he gets busted again, you lose him completely. No.
I think you're underrating how much people would spend.
I don't think people will spend $5 million a year.
You don't think A.J. Preller, with the way he rolls the dice, would roll the dice at $5 million for Jose Alvarado?
No.
You don't think the Dodgers, the way they spend money, would roll the dice for $5 million at Jose Alvarado?
No.
All right. Fair enough.
I think the threat of a year suspension will lower that price tag. I do.
Yeah, but if someone's giving a prove-it-year deal, okay, that money ends up we don't pay him, and he's gone.
Yeah, but it still counts against your cap.
I get what it counts against. I'm telling you though, from their perspective, it's a 1-year prove-it deal. Like these teams have their opportunities. They have plenty of relievers anyways.
Like to me, I am not bringing him back at $9 million. That is the bottom line. Okay. You want to tell me? I think he owes the Phillies something, and so I don't think it's actually going to be much of a negotiation. I think the Phillies will go, okay, we'll pay you this, and Alvarado maybe in a 1-year prove-it deal does pick it up.
All right. I just think from his perspective, they say we're not picking up $9 million. You might feel like you owe them something, but if someone else comes calling with more money for you, are you just going to be like, well, yeah.
Well, the organization kind of stood by you in a lot of ways. So I don't think that's I don't get the sense Jose Alvarado is going to be. He's not in a position. He doesn't have too much leverage to fight him on this.
So you think he'll be here?
I think he'll be here.
Okay. All right.
But I'm not paying him at $9 million.
That's fine. I mean, we could get to the same conclusion if I want him here. That's fine.
Right. But will I pay him that? No, I'm not.
Okay. Fair enough. One thing I want to get to while we talk about, obviously, where they're at with Zack Wheeler, we got to look at a starter that we have been mentioning alongside Zack Wheeler that has had his struggles over the last month. Ranger Suarez goes tonight. They start the series with the Mariners. What we're expecting from him, and what can you realistically expect against a team like Seattle to start the week? He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. Midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Union Soccer. They're trying to get
segment here of the Midday Show. Alongside Kevin Cooney, I'm Ray Dunn. Coming up next, Unfiltered with Bill Colarulo, Ricky Patalico, and Silvana Kelleher. Silvana didn't stop by. Only got to say hi to Ricky and Bill.
No, she doesn't.
TV
she
star.
doesn't care.
Yep.
She doesn't care.
See how it is. You find out you're real friends.
Yep.
Which, honestly, the way Bill's going after me, I don't know if I call him. I guess just Ricky and I.
There's tension between your show and afternoons, isn't there?
Between Bill and I, yeah. There's there's bad blood. He retweeted something critical of me. That's tough for me to take. Tough for me to deal with. A little annoyed with the guy. That's all I'm going to say. I also did not offer a defense when he replied. It's tough for me to take here. You mentioned that the Phillies fourth in MLB.com's power ranking.
Right.
I have the right up here. So they were previously number 3. MLB.com, we spoke earlier. You can listen back on our website to Todd Zeleki. MLB.com covers the Phillies, so be sure to go check that out. 975thefanatic.com. The Zack Wheeler news could potentially be devastating for a team trying to win a World Series right now. And that could depend on whether he's able to beat the odds of return this season. But they did at least get the return of Alec Boehm on Sunday after missing more than a month with a left rib fracture.
They also got another return, which wasn't as good.
Yes, he seemed happy to be back. He homered in his second at-bat. That's the right.
The Aaron Nola thing doesn't crack the list.
No. Could potentially be devastating. It is devastating. I mean, it is.
It is.
That's point blank of it. It's nice to have Alec Boehm back. Like, if this weekend played out, you didn't get the Wheeler news. Like, we're probably talking Duran, probably talking about the fact they split against the Nationals.
They had a 6-4 road trip.
Nola probably leads the way here today.
Yeah.
6-4 when they started the road trip.
You would have been happy with it.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, 6-4. Like, you probably split go 3-3 in the first 2 series, and then you win 3 against the Nationals. It didn't happen at all like I anticipated. It was a front-loaded trip. I mean, you won the first 4 games, and then ended up 2-4 the rest of the way.
Yeah. That's baseball.
That's baseball. So I asked for 6-4. I got 6-4. I certainly do not feel good, but it doesn't really have to do with the record. It has to do more with the fact that Zack Wheeler is, again, right now on the 15-day injured list. We don't know what the timetable is.
No, and obviously, I said this to Ricky in the back. I think today we'll find something. He came home yesterday.
Right.
Seeing the doctor, presumably today. I have a feeling they'll have something today when they come out. I think it's at 4:25 is when he's scheduled to come out today.
All right, let's get to the text line here before we look at tonight, because I know we've got people chimed in with the Zack Wheeler conversation throughout the day. Again, at 610-632-0975. Brendan Gunn, what do we got?
Do you want positive or negative?
Whatever you got.
All right, we'll go with the first one, something you guys got into earlier. You guys are saying how unlikely it is they're going to win the World Series. Well, he chimes in and says, well, you know what else was unlikely? The Eagles winning the Super Bowl after Wentz went down. With the backup came Foles. Who's going to be this team's Foles?
Well, that kind of gets into the pressure conversation. It would have to be Nola.
You would think.
It'd have to be Nola. Nola fits, if you want to start going with the narrative, of the guy that was drafted by the Philadelphia team that was good for the Philadelphia team, except Nola had much more good in Philly before this run than Foles had good in Philly before he had his run. I guess if I want to compare 2013 Foles to basically the first 5-6 years of Nola's career, I'm sorry. You could try. Yeah, you could try and sell me on this. Like the Eagles did it in 2017 thing when no one believed in them. It's just a different sport. It really is. Like
it's every day.
Yeah, like we've seen plenty of times in football where the best team in football does not win because it's a one game, and one game you could catch anybody. Baseball, like we've seen where the best team hasn't won, but for this team, it's greatest
the hottest
edge.
Team that wins.
Yeah, this team's best foot forward is kind of what's been taken out here.
If they were a consistent team, I would say they have a shot. But they're so inconsistent, I can't rely on it.
Right.
All right. We also got Norm in Mayfair checking in, saying the starting pitching went from the big bright spot on this team to a really big question mark. Nola and Ranger have to get it back. And then he chimes in, give Nick 1 day off at a minimum per week.
Cool with
which
that.
He's talking about Castellanos.
Cool with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool with that. I'm perfect.
Hard turf.
Yeah.
Everybody has hard turf.
I'm keeping track. I really am. I've got it in the notes app. Every time they have an excuse for why it's not
CBP,
playing.
hard turf.
Yeah, that would be
hard
this.
grass.
What do you think? This Saturday, is this Saturday an evening or is this an afternoon?
Might be an afternoon.
All right. So
Might be one of them 4:05 starts I hate.
it's tough. You don't like the 4:05?
No.
Why?
All right. You waste you can't do anything else. As a writer, if you're there 4 hours ahead of time, which you are,
Yep.
you really have nothing to do in the morning. You can't because you got to go to work.
Right. You got to be there by noon.
And then you're done at like 9 o'clock, and then you really can't do anything at night. Well, you can because you're, Mr.
I don't know, but if I was a writer from that perspective, be done at 9, like probably I could go for a little bit, but you got to be back at the ballpark the next day for a 1 o'clock afternoon game. Yeah. So I understand. I see your qual. Every once in a while, I can admit that my thought process wasn't exactly matching up to the reality. For the writer, that is tough.
Especially in another city, by the way.
For me,
it's perfect.
That 4:05 is great. Little tailgate action, get down to the game. After the game, a little post-game action. By the time you're getting out of there, I'm sure.
I'm starting to believe the YouTube people.
What?
That you and, being Mr. Social.
I'm just saying for the fan base. Like
you're going to show up at Gunner's wedding with like 3 different women, aren't you?
that assumes an invite.
Coming in like James Bond.
Oh, my God.
If I get invited to his wedding the way I got invited to Tom's wedding, I'm going to find out about 3 days before.
2 days ahead of time.
So in that case, he can only bring 5 instead of 10.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have
no time to let him down.
Let's go back to the text line.
To have the problems of Ray Dunn.
Let's go back to the text line, please. Back to the text line.
We got Karate Mark checking in saying, let's just celebrate that Wheeler's alive. Baseball secondary in this case.
Right.
If he plays, awesome. If not, awesome. It's shout out to whoever found that blood clot early.
Absolutely. And I think we've been pretty clear about that throughout the show. To put
he's a good dude, too. I mean, he's a really good dude. That's what kind of makes this. I feel bad for him because this was probably his best shot at a ring. And
that's like this season.
2023 was probably the best shot. The best shot in his career.
The best that he'll have left. How's that?
Yes.
And for him, I mean, there's a lot this year that we feel like and the shoulder thing's been an issue. It seems like pre-All-Star break, where he doesn't pitch in the All-Star game in his hometown, where he probably would have been the starter. Mm-hmm. He's been robbed at least once of a Cy Young, and he's had a couple of second-place finishes, and he was going to go down to the wire with that before the shoulder popped up, and obviously now this much, much greater than those two things, but the ring, it's tough. And when I look at the career of Zack Wheeler, like, you wanted him to finish out this next, and now 27 seems like a question mark in terms of how much baseball we'll get, but like to put together that resume, so like from 30 years old to 38, he had that peak where we actually could talk about
Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Cooperstown.
It's not going to happen probably now.
Right. And that's
if this is the stopping point.
Right. That's the tough part of this. On top of obviously, like the tough part baseball wise for me when I start reconciling, on top of obviously the tough personal, that you hope just everything's okay with him health wise. So that's some of the things I've worked through with it. Looking to tonight, Suarez on the mound.
Yeah.
What we talked about, what I would need to be back in for them being able to win something. What are you looking for to see from Ranger to feel at all comforted?
I got to see him get through 6, and I got to see him with better location. Like his location has been awful. I mean, he was never gonna throw it and flamethrow it by guys, but kind of like what we talked with Nola. You got to hit your spots right, and he was not hitting spots at all.
He has not in the slightest. Over this. And that 6 feels right? Do you give him any sort of leeway with the... I mean, he's just got... Yeah, 6 probably feels right. I'm trying to go through the Mariners here and try and think, like, what...
You got to get through 6.
Quality start?
Yeah.
Quality start, we start to feel a little bit calmer.
Yep.
But you're right. I think the location's been the biggest thing for me that I'll be looking for.
Like, don't be wholesale panic if Suarez goes and gets roughed up tonight.
Do you think that's out of the possibility?
No.
That's kind of been his reality. And that's...
The good part is you're catching the Mariners, I think, at a pretty decent spot because they're coming off this whole, this Williamsport thing. They lost 2 of 3. It just...
Yeah. And that is, I mean, I don't know exactly what the travel from Williamsport to Philadelphia was like for them.
They got out of there late last night.
Yeah. I mean, there was a late game. You got a lot going on. There's a lot happening this weekend. Like, I could imagine you come into Philadelphia a little spent.
Yeah.
Which,
emotionally, at least.
I like the Little League Classic.
I told you before the show that if I can imagine what hell feels like, it's watching the New York Mets at the Little League World Series Classic. Like, I had thoughts. I had to pinch myself a couple of times saying, what did I do?
I think the broadcast makes it worse.
Well, you know that my biggest problem with the Sunday Night Baseball broadcast, I've always felt like they do too much.
Yeah.
Like they put way too much on the plate of that broadcast to make it sustainable, make it work.
It's like going to your accountant, basically, with all the numbers they throw at you.
Right, well, that's
and
it.
then last night, it was
Numbers,
every 12-year-old.
interviews, conversation. Like there's sometimes it's good to just have a baseball.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't hate the kids getting the opportunity to do it. It does, like, after a while, it's a little much with all the guys in the field talking to kids, like maybe more pre-produced packages of that, of like, hey, earlier in the day today, Pete Alonso got the chance to catch up with fill-in-the-blank team.
How awkward was it to have Manfred in the booth and Carl Ravage basically going, hi, am I going to have a job next year?
Yeah. Well, he mentions ESPN when he talks about the geographical realignment. Like, it's good for entities like ESPN. It's like,
pay up.
What'd you say there?
Yeah,
Just
pay
making
up.
sure I can just
Pay up.
Just making sure I heard that.
By the way, it sounds like they're going to split that ESPN package among 3 or 4 different things, so it'll make it even more confusing try to find baseball games on the dial.
So while you're on this, because I mentioned this at the end of the show one of the days last week where we saw it, Netflix for the Home Run Derby.
Yeah.
Am I wrong to hate it?
No.
Okay.
I hated Roku yesterday.
Of course, yeah. I mean, 11:35 also. Like, I know you want a standalone spot, but my goodness.
And, like, not for nothing, Netflix has run into some problems with their live streams of games. Now it's in Philadelphia next year, and dare I say I don't make it in there, and they run into some issues.
Didn't even think about that.
Like, what happens then? Then I'm going to be pretty PO'd.
I was livid just on the basis of it being there. Now I'm even more upset.
I'm going to be fascinated to see, not just with the ESPN deal, but what they do. Fox and Turner are up in 2 years, which will be after the labor situation gets resolved. It'll be fascinating to see if Fox holds on.
Because of how much they put into football?
Yeah.
That's fair. Amazon, come on down. You're next.
Apple TV.
Yeah, Apple TV too. Well, hey.
MLB's following MLS.
Folks, I think it's great. And if you need someone to do these games,
it's all about Ray.
I think we should have more services do this.
It's Ray's World.
Roku, if you need someone to do this every single Sunday.
Hey, you got to do your afternoon shift with me on
That's a good point.
Post game.
Until the beginning of September. All right, that's
that July Tigers Blue Jay game. Ray wants it.
Unfiltered's coming up next. Thanks to B Guy.
I'll see you Friday.
Hey, I'll see you Friday. Best of luck in school this year,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
Great to have you. He's Kevin Cooney. I'm Ray Dunn. This has been Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.